Live tonight on Architects of Humanity. Is history a movie? History, as we know, is told by the murderers and edited by the cautious. So I made a thumbnail showing that history, especially like things like the Revolutionary War, could have been fabricated as far as the story. And this is why I figured to put it in a movie scene. Redcoats on the right, the colonial army on the left, and the natives in the background, with the director ready to say action. Scene one, the American Revolution. Clearly, it's a new way of looking at what people have been told, all of us, throughout school. So, like the World War II, World War One, the Civil War, Korea, Vietnam, and everything else. It's a story that we've been told. Not saying that some of it isn't accurate, but I don't think all of it is. And the more we look into it, the more we start to see that the American Revolution doesn't make sense to have been won by the colonial army, especially going against the British troops. Of course, there's going to be uh, a type of propaganda, just the way movies push it. I mean, matter of fact, movies are made about it. The fact that a movie is made about it should make us question anything that we think might have existed. Either is worse than what they told us, or not as bad as what they told us, but doesn't seem to be what they told us, if you get what I'm saying, accurately. So if they're saying, yeah, this is what history is about, then usually they're, I would say look a little deeper, look for something else. And what do we find? We find a lot of different things. The Vietnam conflict, there was a Gulf of Tonkin incident that I think the admiral on in the Navy there was Jim Morrison's father. Let me see if that'll come up, because I remember uh, an admiral during Vietnam, and that was a very oh wow, it says yes. Jim Morrison's father was a U.S. Navy admiral. George Stephen Morrison served as a rear admiral and held command over U.S. naval forces during the Vietnam War. This is wow. And oh my goodness, he commanded the carrier division of the U.S. fleet involved in the Gulf of Tonkin incident in 1964, the event that significantly escalated America's military involvement in Vietnam. You can't make that up. The father of a man who became a musical actor, because that's what a singer is. A singer is basically a musical actor. And his father, from what people are saying, especially guys like Jesse Ventura and other guys who come out now, they come out and they talk about things, not saying that they're actually right, but it's saying that sometimes you get information that you would have never received unless two people are fighting with each other. Then it comes out. We see it in relationships. We see it in a lot of political debates. You wouldn't know that somebody did something the other side, because it's always under the scenes. It's not what you see it to be. That's why I say, is history a movie? When they make that movie, you think, wait a second, man. Uh, Look at the inaccuracies. Look, just the fact that they push Vietnam, the fact that they can sell films that mesmerize, glamorize war. Look at Platoon, Heartbreak Ridge, which I thought was Hamburger Hill. Hamburger Hill was actually a spot, but I guess I don't know if the movie Heartbreak Ridge is dealing directly with that. Let me see is uh, which movie portrays. Let me see, portrays Hamburger Hill, and just the fact that they call it Hamburger Hill because people were basically turned in what they would call hamburger meat. The 1987 war film Hamburg. Oh, so there was, because I remember an 87 or in an 80s film Hamburger Hill. And yeah, so I just thought Clint Eastwood had acted in that. Somebody had corrected me to show me like, well, no, wait a second. It was all right, who acted in Hamburger Hill? That's it. Who acted in Hamburger Hill? And that was John Cheadle, Dylan McDirt, Don James, Michael Boatman, Harry O'Reilly. I thought there was like more big names in that. But again, was that story really told properly to us? It's like they glorify it, but Colonel Honeycutt, they say, had the men sacrifice many lives to take the hill just to abandon it and allow the Viet Cong to claim it again. Mr. X, good to see you, man.
Good to see you, MD. Good to see you. Looks like an interesting stream
Dragon
we're gonna have again.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you said about
is
did we win actually win the
this
war?
is something when we look deep into history and we see like the thumbnail and the artwork. Is history a movie? Is it really a movie? Like
Yes.
what exactly have we been told to believe, and is it true?
No.
Is it true?
But you know
Yeah.
what? It,
Mr. X, I don't know if you're there.
can you hear me?
I'm not hearing. I just saw your thing move, so I think
Oh, I'll come
your
back.
sound, it's not muted here, but maybe you have, or maybe my sound is muted. Oh yeah, okay.
Oh, is
I
it your
had my
sound that's muted?
yeah, so I wasn't
Oh,
hearing you.
okay. I was wondering
Yeah.
what's going
Yeah,
on.
I was like, wow. But yeah, history is
You know what?
basically, yeah.
The part they leave out is the monetary system. And people are like, oh, so what? What does that matter? Okay, well, it matters everything. Did America really win the war? Well, if it was backed by if at that time their currency was backed by the British pound, then probably not, because it really comes down to the monetary system. You can't win anything. Whoever controls the money controls the world in the end, and that doesn't change no matter who wins. Because if you get independence, you're still tied to the monetary system. If you say, well, I don't want to be tied to it, well, then you have a worthless currency. And that's fine if you want to live like a tribal person, but not if you want to live in whatever the present day is. You can't. And then if you don't, by that, you'll be defeated in no time anyway, because they'll have more advanced weaponry. So yeah, that's the part they leave out in all the history books, and that's what we're taught about as kids. We're taught about these brave soldiers who fought against the armies and won their independence, and the bravery of mankind. And it's kind of like it is a movie, because it's there to, like, not just in the movies that we see in the theaters, but also the indoctrination of what we read in history books. It says, oh wow, I want to be a soldier, I want to fight for my country. you know
Mhm.
it's all indoctrination if you think about it. It's not real history. It's not how things really unfolded, that's for sure.
Mhm. I mean, it says, and again, it's just speculation that certain historians agree that the British did not secretly win the Revolutionary War, which right there, anything they say openly
Hmm.
does have to be questioned. Uh, that they say the British did have logistical and military superiority. They were exhausted by the global coalition of
Hmm.
American, French, and Spanish forces, causing them to formally surrender and lose the colonies. But so, see, that's the thing, to think past, like, could it be something that was fabricated to seem that way? Mehdi, good to see you, says it starts with what narrative of history is taught in our schools. Yeah. And the fact that it's being taught in the schools, that's the big question. Because we know that school twists a lot of stuff around. Evolution is taught in school as if it's a fact. So that should bring up a big question mark on whether American history or history of the world itself is told in truth. We see that the history of evolution is based on lies. We see, I posted
And I
the
want to comment on
mountain.
that when I get a chance, when you're just saying,
Mhm. Yeah.
but at evolution, because it's
Hmm.
already confirmed now. Like I thanked Hostile last night for opening my eyes to the fact that it's a religion, and I did a little Google search about it. And if you look it up, the AI, the ancient religion of evolution, you can put that in there. It'll say the concept of ancient religion of evolution refers back to the evolutionary through it predates Charles Darwin. This is from AI Google now.
Yeah.
Philosophically, it dates back to ancient pagan systems such as uh, atomism, pantheism, stoicism, which
Mm-hmm.
positioned that the universe was eternal.
Mm-hmm.
That's agreed upon by evolutionists, operating all by natural laws. So it pre Darwin didn't come up with the theory. It's an ancient religion that
Oh
he was
no, it goes, yeah, it goes back. I mean, the worship of nature, I wouldn't say is evolution, but trying to say that things come from nothing by chance, that definitely has a
well, it's
part in
just
it.
I mean the whole product of the universe being eternal and everything operating by naturalistic laws. So
Yeah,
it
that would well, operating by naturalistic laws is not the part, it's the creation of it. The creation and the change.
yeah.
It could be operated by naturalistic laws like we see, but
Mhm.
something changing into something else, and rocks like I'm showing that they say would be millions of years, and we see that these are no more than 2 years old. That's a 400-foot deposit. You
Mhm.
know, you see the person in the middle, very small, and this is just one part of the formation. And within 2 months, over two-thirds of these layers were formed
Yeah.
in less than 2 months. And then in another 2 years, the top layer of darker ash was formed. They would clearly say these are millions of years apart, easily. And the fact that it's taught in schools, it's ridiculous,
But
man.
the argument of whether or not it's a religion anymore is not an argument anymore. It's a fact that evolution is a religion. It's an ancient religion being promoted in schools.
Yeah,
It's
it is. Well,
never scientific.
the
It's
the
always
modern version is a little different. The modern, I would say,
yeah,
um,
little tweaks here and there, but
yeah,
it's
because
done.
the whole putting it in as a scientific, like back when you're talking about it, it may have been openly said to be a religion,
Yeah.
instead of saying no, 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 this is not a religion, it's science.
Well,
So
now they're
that's the
claiming
big
it's
thing.
science. That's the
Hmm?
difference.
Yeah, because
It's
if
like me
something
claiming
says it's a
my
religion,
yeah, like
if
oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry. Go ahead.
no, no, okay, yeah.
No, I was going to say it's like theists right now coming out and saying, nope, it's no longer a belief, it's scientific. It's the equivalent of religious people saying our beliefs now are scientifically based. It's the
Hmm.
exact same thing, what evolutionists has done.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Good to see you, Mark. And I think that even though they say that 80% of the German military was destroyed by the Red Army, that too must be questioned. What if if it was the opposite? What if Germany did have some type of secret weapons, and also, like Alexis had brought this up very wisely to say we must question it. I mean, it could be official. Alexis says, is deja vu just having a fraction of the elite's power to see things in the future? I don't think that it's really that they are going to see that much more. I mean, it's possible, maybe an understanding of it, but I think deja vu are waves that come back from the future. I'm still not sure. We could do a stream on it and look into it. Lately, I've seen the evolutionists use the phrase quantum to fill in the gaps they can't explain. Of course, they always use that micro, that nano, that quantum. Oh yeah, it's something that, again, something that we can't see and we can't test and we don't know about. Um, Mehdi says, I never thought of evolution as a religion, but in a way, yes. It's very, very, very deep as a religion. It
Yep.
is. And this is where we see empirical science here. I put this in the community post to show that this is empirical science. This is strata that was created in a matter of months, and then the top strata within the next 2 years. So it shows us this. And the fact that this happened in such a quick time, it wasn't like Mount St. Helens happened 45, 46 years ago. And, it took this time to make this. No, this was made in a matter of 2 years. And it's saying, that's like astonishing. But the problem, this is where I think a lot of the religious people mess it up. It just, because they'll go back and say this proves Noah's flood or proves
Yeah.
their religion to be true, which scientifically it doesn't.
No.
Scientifically, it just proves that the dating method is so skewed and lied about and printed in books, as those lies are printed as fact. And now that is a religion. That is basically the textbook. That's a holy book for
No, 100%.
the religion of Darwinism. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean Noah's flood and whether or not he existed, whether or not the events occurred as the Bibles say, yes, that's based on a belief system. We can't prove that scientifically. Um, but it's meant to be a historical narrative of what happened. And whether or not you choose to believe it or not, it's fine. But it's not science. I agree 100% with that. It's not scientific. We can't go back and see Noah's flood or anything like that. It can't be proven. So, yeah, that's why it's categorized the way it should be. It's a religion.
Yeah. I mean, well, the fact that they claim not to have mapped out the ocean, but they claim to map the entire surface of the moon and Mars,
Hmm.
that's ridiculous.
Very ridiculous.
And
Very.
people believe that religion is so deep, the planetary religion, the bone worship part of evolution, just the way Christianity has non-dominant denominational Christian, Seventh-day Adventists, Protestants, Catholics. Evolution has those sections. You have the
Mhm.
bone worshippers, you have the planet worshippers, you have the moon mission worshippers, the galaxy and Big Bang worshippers. So there's all different types, and some of them do come together and they're a conglomerated belief. Yeah, the history zombies, they inhabit the universities. History is that's a good one. History is, yeah, it is a religion. History books, the Bible, history is a religion. That's actually a good way to put it, Alexis. Yeah.
Mhm.
History is another part of that evolutionary religion, because evolution is just, it's just sitting there for everything to be blended into it, like the World War II, the World War I, the Civil War, going back to the American Revolutionary War, and all of these other uh, movies. Basically, that goes back Rome, and then before that, and they seamlessly sew that together with the caveman as they go further back past Egypt, Sumer, Mesopotamia, all of that. And then it goes back into, oh, they were cavemen. So here's the rest. Now we're going to go into the prehistoric fairy tale. And that's where the bones come in. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look up natural pantheism because that's where it seems to be all stemmed from.
The
Complete
pantheism?
natural pantheism that the universe is God, universe and nature is God. It's all God, and it seems to go back to all the way to Egyptian times. They had their own pantheism.
Well, yeah, they did have that, trying to say it was non theistic. But um, again, we're getting the information of this
Hmm.
from the Egyptologists. We're not getting it from the original people. Like if somebody did something on the American so-called empire that we live in thousands of years from now and says, "Oh, they were just and they were good and they were, more advanced," they
Hmm.
wouldn't know because they didn't speak to us of how corrupt it is.
Sure.
So it's like we're being told this by corruption. So
Hmm.
that's why I'm saying, there has to be a level of questioning. Not to say that everything to be thrown out, but it's to say, okay, these people believed in naturalistic pantheism, and I can understand the type of worshiping of nature. And but as far as when they try to say, well, it doesn't, they don't think of they think the afterlife is nothing.
Right.
And really, it doesn't make sense. I'm not saying it couldn't have existed or people might not have that belief, but when you look at everything and you understand, like with your consciousness, you start to say, how could it just be this?
Right.
How could? Because then again, now we're saying the finite is forever. So it's like, so this little finite thing is all that there is. It's
But
like,
that's a way to keep people enslaved if you think about it, to have that sort of thinking that really enslaves you as a person. That this is all there is, this physical realm, and
or
there's nothing else
yeah,
after.
keep them not thinking about what's going to happen next too. That's another thing it could be doing.
Very powerful, yeah. And plus it's when it ties you into this world, and let's just say things haven't really worked out the way you wanted to in this lifetime, you can become a very angry, hostile person, and or even just make bad decisions. Also,
Hmm.
it
Yeah,
can lead a lot of places, and they know this. They know the psychology of what they're dealing with. And they put this into your mind, especially in consumerism. We all like you see a lot of people will purchase products they may not need just to make themselves feel better for the moment and go into deep debt. You know.
it's it's like when you look deeper into that, they are they're trying to fill a hole like that's within themselves, like a gap.
Yes.
Um, Mehdi says, look at how recent discoveries that prove the human timeline is not correct. Like, yeah, just like the Mount St. Helens picture. And we were much more advanced, yes, than we think and go back much further. That is very true. It's very true. Yep, hell is definitely a construct. The fact that war is worse than hell shows you that they didn't do such a good job in trying to scare people with that. Is Napoleon just a bunch of fairy tales? I mean, his girl cheated on him and he knew, yet begged her to come back, married her. Lots of these history conquerors are weak men. I think that they promote that to make it seem like, because it mentally conditions you to think that, oh, this so-called conqueror was still a simp, and that all men, or like, it kind of gives that weakness. It portrays it just the way they portray most of the sitcom fathers as buffoons. Like, even though some might be a little more aware, but they're chained to their matrimony, like Married with Children, and a lot of the other, um, Archie Bunker. There was a few other ones. The Cosby Show tried to make it okay. He's a doctor, but he was still playing a comedian part, so sort of like a comedic doctor, and it was so fake. It's like you got to be kidding me. But it was more of a positive role as some of the other sitcom stuff, yet still fictional. Why would we even have that? Why would people watch a film about friends pretending to be regular working class people? They're all millionaires. And it became, I mean, those people were getting paid millions of dollars to act like poor people. So you got rich people or people that are well off pretending to be poor people on a screen for what? For a distraction, basically. Yeah, Napoleon was a straight simp. Yeah. Yeah, uh Napoleon was not a simp in the movie, and that movie makes me laugh. I mean, in history, according to the letters, he was simping. Maybe the letters aren't true, but it does portray like they put that. Look at Mark Antony simping for Cleopatra, and then uh, Caesar, right? She simped out Caesar, I think, afterwards, and that's when they stabbed him up when he went back to Rome or something like that, because he wanted to make her queen. So she was, they were simping out hard in that story too. A lot of these stories, when we look at it, it's like, man, this is. this is something that needs to be looked into a little deeper. But I hear what you're saying about the pantheism and stuff like that. Rome had, what's the name of the building? The Pantheon, right?
Right.
I don't think they built that. Like when I did the stream that Rome didn't build the Pantheon, because if you look at the curvature, that's not gonna you can't build that without steel rebar. There has to be a different method. Possibly people have suggested that it was a higher level of making a dome of sand and then putting the concrete on top of that until it hardened. So now it had the structure underneath it and then dig that out. But these methods are so um it's like they're so cumbersome. Just like when they say, oh, they build a ramp to build the high blocks on the pyramid, the ramp would have to contain more stones than the pyramid itself
Yeah.
because of the angle. You couldn't make it at such a high angle because it'd be hard to pull a stone up. So you want a longer ramp at a lower angle. And it's just it's insane to even think about how some of that stuff is presented as if it were fact, and then tell people, okay, there's no more to see here, just like a circus act. Same thing with the Revolutionary War. They'll come, it is, history is a religion. Alexis
Mhm.
put that really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at the space missions and the site I just found: Apollo, Mercury, Artemis, all pagan gods, all
hmm
ancient Roman pagan gods, or after Greek gods. I'm sorry, Greek
hmm
gods.
Yeah. And
So,
even for them, it's like it keeps going back. Like if we boil it down,
mhm.
it's something more than a human being.
Yes, yes,
And they are, it's religion hides in so many different forms. History being a religion, science that we see, what they would call science, is a lot of religious stuff. um we see politics is a clear religion
yes.
of the state. um and when you combine politics and religion together, forget it. You get a level of nutcase that goes beyond any asylum classification that we have. I mean, we see it. You're talking straight Manchurian candidate type of stuff.
And
Um,
it's sort of like they're trying to get us to worship these, these idols or these different gods in their own way, whether it be the space missions
mhm.
or when you go to history museums, they pick and choose what to worship, sort of
Yeah,
thing. So
yeah,
that you're worshiping it without even knowing,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. A lot of people. That's the thing. Worshiping without even knowing.
Yeah.
That's what we see. We see that especially, and worshiping without knowing, but under the disguise of thinking you're actually being scientific. That's the scary thing.
Hmm. And who started the arena? Wasn't it the Roman Empire, really? The Colosseum? And now we have a world of ball chasers. I mean, worship of the ball chasers. I'm guilty of it too, by the way, in my younger years. But definitely guilty wearing the shirts, especially during football season or the World Cup. You can include that, wearing the jerseys. I mean, I see them everywhere for sale now for the World Cup that's happening. And
Yeah,
it's another form of paganistic worship. They built the Colosseum. It's just it's if you can look at the ancient societies and the structures, then everything today makes a little more sense. I think if you can get some knowledge of how their operations ran and their religions, then we can sort of tie it into what we're dealing with today. Because a lot of people are worshiping Artemis and the space mission, and they want to know what's on the other side of the moon. We're giving worship to that too,
yeah, yeah. We have a lot of space worship, bone worship.
and
Uh,
ball chasing worship.
yeah,
Ball
yeah.
chasing. That's
I
huge.
think there was some bull chasing worship over here in like the South American stuff where they found like those courts, those bull courts that they would use
Mhm.
the rubber from the rubber trees. I mean, I don't know if they've found ancient bulls from Mesoamerica over here or any of the North, South, Central, but
I know
they're
the Aztec had a ball chasing tournament. They had their
yeah.
own venue for that. I know
Yeah,
that.
they might have had, yeah. So that's why I'm thinking ball chasing, ancient ball chasing might have been worldwide.
Yeah, I think it
It's
was.
yeah, it's crazy. It's a form of control. Yeah, look at how fanatically academia holds on to its agreed upon narrative. Yeah, it holds on to this like fanatics. Musk is saying history is controlled by companies. He wants to make online library that he owns and will give access to the people that will have unbiased real history thoughts. I don't trust Musk. I don't see how, like, okay, he can build a library, he can do all of that, but remember, he's the guy that keeps tweeting white genocide on his Twitter platform. And it's like nothing about how the Dutch and Portuguese went there 500 years ago, more than that, and just invaded and and just slaughtered people, exploited the land, and then now, hundreds of years later, claimed that they have so many generations there, as if, well, they're not foreign, or not as foreign as people put them out to be. Just like over here, just like over here, 1600s, you got towns established here from England, and then 1776, magically they transform into something that, what, doesn't make them immigrants anymore. And that's the craziest thing when we look at that. It's like, if we think, which you can clearly see, that South Africa, the people there that had invaded, that they say, oh, they brought technology. It's like, listen, that's like saying people that live in a trailer park who are just getting by, and they're happy getting by, and somebody comes, like the government today, and invades it and tells them, oh, no, you got to pay to even park your trailer on this land. And it's like, wait a minute, it was better without you here. That's They try to make like they're helping people, like, oh, well, we built roads, what, to come here and fight with us? That's basically what the roads were for. Or trains to from the mine to the coast, so extraction points. And these are things that any thinking individual can see, but that's why they push people not to think. Ford's good to see you, man. He says, yeah, I believe they did not coincidentally, those cultures that were engaging in Baal worship. And that's funny. Look at the Baal worship, like the ball chasers, like Baal chasers
Yeah.
were actually imperialistic at heart, from opinion and my perspective. See, this is where we have to like constantly question and monitor the Agent Smith that can pop up, that historical Agent Smith that we've
Mhm.
all been implanted with. Like it's kind of like the movie The Time Machine, the modern version. I think it was in like 2014 or something.
Right.
And he had the holographic library assistant that when he walked past different panels of glass, he would appear.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah. You're talking about the
yeah,
second one that came out. I can't remember what year, but I saw that movie in the theaters. Yeah.
yeah, so that holographic assistant, that's like the Agent Smith. That's the one that would say, well, we have, all of these history books, and, this is now magically, from saying they have a history book, goes into the religious, showing how the book is religious by saying, this is what happened during the Revolutionary War, as if it were fact.
Mm-hmm.
So even somebody, they could say, well, this person here documented this during the Revolutionary War, right?
Right.
Um, why couldn't they lied? George Orwell actually spoke about that when I think he was a soldier, and he talked about how they were lying about battles being won. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah, because I remember, because his real name is Eric Blair. Um, State that journalist lied on reports about battles. All right, in the war he was in. Yeah, because I forgot what war. I think he was in World War One.
Hmm.
I'm not sure. Uh,
And
yeah.
just let you know, I'm just looking up different pagan symbols. It's very interesting. It really ties into what we see in a lot of company logos and everything.
Oh
Apparently,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the dollar symbols is let's call it the scourge. The scourge. I didn't even.
That's like the snake, right? The S with the snake with the spike going through it.
Well, this one has an S. It just looks like a dollar symbol, S with two lines going through it, but they call it a scourge.
Mm. I
Yeah.
think there's because I remember finding something. I don't know if it was older, but it might have come from a snake with a staff going through it,
Hmm. Let's see if I can save this.
and then maybe it transformed into the scourge, or what you're saying.
Uh,
Um, it says yes. George Orwell heavily criticized journalists for lying about battles during the Spanish Civil War, where
hmm.
he served with the Republican forces. So we're getting firsthand somebody saying that. Other people say, well, the history books didn't say that. And that's the Agent Smith that comes out. If somebody says that the history books or what they were told did not lie about the battles during the Spanish Civil War without even knowing that George Orwell, who was in the Spanish Civil War, criticized the journalists heavily for lying about battles. If they say that the official version is correct, that you're not speaking to them, you're speaking to historical Agent Smith.
Right.
And that's another way of detecting how Agent Smith can come out, is if somebody is presented with this evidence that might seem to be aware, and they say, you tell them George Orwell heavily criticized journalists for lying about battles. If they come out and say, well, who's George Orwell to say, it's an immediate Agent Smith.
Yeah.
You're speaking to Agent Smith at that point, kind of like Denizen Chimp, Denizen
Right.
Denizen Primate. Yeah.
See, now that kind of Agent Smith I have a problem with because he doesn't know how to converse. But if somebody comes on, they're more, if they can just converse and have a back and forth, all right, then I'll accept their Agent Smith, no problem. But when
Hmm.
you start interrupting and over talking and just getting out of control, like you had to mute him and he was still talking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that
Like
was the funniest thing. He kept talking, not even knowing he was muted.
I know. It's just that part we can't have. You know what I mean? Because then that kills the stream. It hurts the stream. And plus,
Yeah,
if
well,
someone's saying the thing,
he puts himself in the zoo.
yeah,
And now if we allow him to talk, we're just observing the animal speak. And we're looking at him through the cage now, like
yeah.
we're seeing him in the cage. I should have, and I didn't think of it. I forget so much. When he was talking, I should have just started playing the circus music.
Oh yeah.
That is the crush. That is the ultimate crush. It's like, okay, you don't when you want to talk over people, let me give them the music. Let me
Mhm.
give them the encore. And
And the fact that we didn't get angry at him really because we were laughing the whole time,
yeah,
I
it
think
doesn't make sense, yeah,
uh,
to get
that
angry with.
really
Yeah, yeah, and this is Musk. This shows you the face of Musk. This is, again, that is like a blatant lie, but it's a lie that serves a few different purposes. One, the basic pride, telling somebody that, look, you built something that you didn't build, because
yeah,
nobody built nothing. If it was somebody, they were back in history, so they didn't build nothing. And it also serves the purpose of hatred, to not acknowledge other people as people and
yeah,
what they've done for surviving here. And you already see the same thing with South Africa. Agent Smith is extremely dangerous. And yeah, the fake Professor Dave, he is he's always mad. He is like, again, he will serve the state without saying he's serving the state. He will There's nothing that the mainstream will do that these guys will say is wrong. Like Michael Shermer from Skeptic Magazine.
oh
And
yeah, I know him.
yeah, I'm thinking he's not a skeptic. He's saying he's a skeptic, but anything about the government he's not skeptical about.
No, They
He's
could do it
only
all.
skeptical about somebody telling you that the government is wrong.
Yeah.
So he's not a skeptic. He's a minion of the state with that type of mind frame. Nothing against him personally, but I mean, I think he's just, I think he's faking it. I think he knows that he's lying and he's acting as if, oh, he's being skeptical about this. No, I think he knows that the government just, all of this stuff is built on fabricated lies, like Orwell is saying that he has a 1942 essay looking back on the Spanish War, where he famously wrote, he saw great battles reported where there had been no fighting and complete silence when hundreds of men had been killed.
Hmm.
So they're saying, oh, there was a battle over here, but there was no battle. And then not talking about where hundreds of men were killed. Troops who fought bravely were called cowards and traitors, and others who had never seen a shot fired hailed as heroes of imaginary victories. That sounds
Yep.
like presidents.
Yeah.
That sounds like all the fake war hero rhetoric that they try to put on presidents, and then people find out that they were cowards, basically,
Yeah.
that they were the cowards and traitors, and the real men who fought were denounced as the cowards and traitors. So it's a backwards thing, first-hand account, and I think a lot of this did influence Orwell's writing. And he added that he saw the London newspaper retelling these lies and intellectuals building emotional stories over events that never happened. And
Mm.
how do you solidify that even more from the fake documentation? You make a movie about it.
Yep.
You make a movie about it, you push it throughout history, and you tell people this really happened. This really happened. And now we see that a lot of this stuff, well, we know now from what we have another angle that somebody's talking about, that the fact that this isn't even presented, they would, we could speculate. What would they say? They would say, well, George Orwell is not a journalist, so that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that he's not a journalist. Anybody that journals something that they saw, or even something that they didn't see, just an event for the day, when they write it in their journal, that's journalism.
Hmm.
You know, you're a journalist because you're right, even if it's a personal journal or a public journal, it's still journalism. Journalism is reporting what other people really don't want you to report.
Yeah. I agree with that 100%.
Alexis asks, what is the most dangerous type of Agent Smith? I think it's the type of Agent Smith that people don't know they have. Now, I know you might have been asking to say, is it a religious Agent Smith, a political Agent Smith, a historical Agent Smith? I think it's the Agent Smith. It could be any of those categories, but the Agent Smith that cloaks himself
Yes.
as the person very closely, to where the person will defend Agent Smith, not even knowing that he's like already come out of them. Like, people are looking at the
Hmm.
person and they're seeing Agent Smith, but the person talking is saying, no, what are you talking about? I'm me. I'm not Agent Smith. Like the guy was saying on the show. He was like, no, you're Agent Smith. And it's like,
Right.
you don't even know that you're Agent Smith right now. You think that we don't see Agent Smith. And now you're calling anybody who calls that out, you're calling them Agent Smith. You're trying to project it onto them. But the most dangerous thing is, if he knows he's Agent Smith, it's not the worst Agent Smith.
No.
The Agent Smith is him actually believing, no, well, you guys are nuts. I'm not Agent Smith. So if he really believes he's not Agent Smith, that's the most dangerous type of Agent Smith, because that Agent Smith is, it's like an invisible thing in front of you that other people are seeing. Yeah.
Or
And
the ones you can't see. Maybe the ones that are so good that you can't see them, they can fool you.
those are dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah.
The most dangerous ones are the ones you can't. We can pretty much figure it out because it's a psyop if you can't question it.
Yeah.
If once a question comes up and somebody gets agitated, you hit the trigger.
It's
You
like
hit,
AI. If it became an Agent Smith, it could take it to a whole different level.
oh yeah, yeah. AI is basically, there's got to be Agent Smiths there.
Hmm.
People have made videos showing how AI blatantly lied to them. Uh, there's a lot of stuff that isn't as it seems in the whole AI thing.
Hmm.
People going back and forth trying to say yes it is, and other people saying no it isn't,
Hmm.
when they don't really know. They really don't know. Is Agent Smith more dangerous than Cypher? Agent Smith and Cypher, that's a good question.
It is.
It's a good question because Cypher, the fact that he betrayed them, and you think that yeah, I think Cypher might be more dangerous in some aspects because you're trusting Cypher, and he's putting on like such a fake, like such a high quality faking of acting like he's one of the crew, that Agent Smith is will reveal his colors. That's what makes Cypher more dangerous, because Cypher is going to make you think, it's going to make you trust him, or kind of come across as trustworthy, really. So Agent Smith ain't trying to be trustworthy.
Yeah.
Agent Smith is just coming straight Gestapo on you. He's defending the thing right then and there. Cypher will let you in. He's the one that'll let you in when you think he's cool, and the next thing you know, he betrays you. He calls the cops. Agent Smith is cops right off the bat. So that's the thing. It's like somebody, it's like a cop coming after somebody for breaking the law, not even doing a crime. Because breaking the law, we know the law can be wrong. That's Agent Smith. Cypher is the guy that does the crime with you and then rats you out.
Yeah.
I mean that, yeah, Cypher's really, really messed up, man, when you look at it. And there's a lot of ciphers. There's a lot of agent ciphers. Because I don't even want to mix Agent Smith with Cypher, because Cypher is on a level of deception that has the person trusting him. So Agent Smith doesn't do that. Agent Smith is going to either try to convince you or assimilate you. So that's my opinion. I mean, if you have something that's better than that, I'll definitely look at it and ponder the thought, because that's where growth happens. To say, oh, okay, I'm seeing this now. All right, I kind of get what you're saying. Yeah, this is deep contemplative thought about history on the whole. It has me thinking, like, wow, I could see people just throwing their hands up, saying, well, what's really true? Everything's a lie, like ready to give up in a way. But really, it should make a person become inquisitive, the discipline, the person that really wants to know, like, wow, this is amazing. This is amazing that they lied about all of this.
Hmm.
And now you get curious, you wonder, and life, when you wonder, is becomes wonderful.
But
You
why
know,
do they lie? That's the issue too. We got to figure out, like, why did they tell the kids a lie? What was the agenda? Obviously,
hmm
control the mind. But
hmm
what purpose?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That think about that, like, wow, yeah, all of those ciphers, man. Yep. Yeah, Agent Smith puts on a character like he did at the beginning of the movie. But once Neo threatened the Matrix, Agent Smith fully switched. Yeah, exactly, man. We seen the ciphers, and then some of them, I don't know if it was the cipher that it was revealed, like when Cypher revealed himself at the end, and it came out and he started, doing the damage, and then they finally fried him. Yeah, that's how they came out. Yeah, they acted all like they were part of the crew. And the thing is, some of them might look at it as, that's the best accomplishment of their life. Like they needed attention. So it boils down to what I think is they're looking for attention, and they're such at a level of desperation that they will betray somebody for the attention. But they don't look at it as a bad thing. They look at it as, oh, they had a skill to betray the person. Now, in reality, if we look at it, and I would say, it's not the skill. It's like, think about, you actually had somebody trusting you. So somebody trusted you. Don't think about you betrayed them, or they were not smart enough to sense your betrayal. Think about how low, how horrible it is to gain the trust of somebody and do that to them. So it's like a lesson teaching people, look, this is what you really are. You that's like parasitic level type of thing. To say, wow, think about that. Like how that same person might want to be respected as somebody that could be trusted. And it's like, how could you? You've proved that you will betray somebody that trusts you. Yeah. I mean, it's something when I think about it. But history, as we look at what we've been told, I, I don't think a thinking individual will just openly believe it, especially after we search and find all of these like experiments that have been done on people. But like, this is to show you how people will fall back asleep after learning something. The Tuskegee experiments, where they so-called experimented on Air Force veterans by giving them a disease. And people say, yeah, that was messed up, right? And they act as if it gives like a non-said thing that, oh, that was only then. After that, they stopped experimenting on people. That's what it says without saying, in a way. It gives that feeling of, now you can rest. So is that a psychological tactic to say, reveal the information, and after you reveal the information, you feel maybe it's a type of getting a person to trust you, getting them to trust the history books, to say, oh, look, no, they're not lying. They admitted to the Tuskegee experiments. But in that admittance and saying, look, now you should trust them, the trust is kind of said without saying that, okay, now everything else we tell you is a truth. We wouldn't do that again to you. Meanwhile, again, if you look, you find it being done over and over again, like with the thalidomide. You find it with other pharmaceuticals that eventually come out to be recalled and stuff. The Mind, what's up, bro? Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you, the mind.
Yeah.
Hey,
Mhm.
sorry guys. Yeah, I'm back. I literally walked away from my phone for a second. I'm just gonna add real quick and say I have had issues like that when it comes to people. They want to think like they did a one up on you when you're just literally just being kind to them, and they're just like, "Oh, this dumb person! Like I can't believe I actually uh got them to do a thing." Like I remember, I'm gonna just give two examples and then we could continue on with the conversation. Uh, One time, my brother's friend, 'cause I don't really have friends, I have associates, because that's how I like to think about it. Like, we could be associates, and after we get to know each other, if, things are cool, if we vibe, then we can maybe like establish a friendship, right? But ultimately, I have associates.
Mhm.
And I told the guy was telling me something, and he was basically doing the same thing like you said. He was like, "Oh my God, you're so dumb. Like, I can't believe you actually believe me." And I was just like, yeah, I, I, how foolish of me for putting my trust in you, right? And when I told him that, he just got quiet. He didn't know what to say, and I was like, now I know not to believe anything you say because you're a liar. And like you said, I would be foolish to believe anything you say.
Mhm.
So Yeah, when you call them out like that, it kind of like shuts them down from what I've seen. And I've had it too where somebody gave a guy something. I forgot, like a couple of bucks or something. And the guy was like, "Oh, that guy is stupid. Like, I didn't even need the money. He's dumb. He can't. He doesn't even know. I ripped him off. Blah blah. Like, I manipulated him." And I was just like, "Wow, that's crazy. Like, I can't believe this guy is this inconsiderate or whatever. Like, I never even would have been in that mentality." And he needed something supposedly. Like, I think he needed some headphones or something, and I had an extra pair, and I was just like, "Here, look, I'm gonna give you these things, and don't turn around and start acting like you screwed me over or like you one up me or something. Because I'm doing this because I want to do it, not because you're manipulating me or anything. Like, I don't need these headphones, and I don't mind giving them to you."
Mhm.
And that's kind of it. Like that, I have noticed that in my life is all I'm saying, and I had to like directly address it when it's popped up. Okay, I'm done.
What did he say when you gave him the headphones after telling him?
Nothing really. Most of the time, people are speechless. Like they don't have much to say when I talk.
Wow. Wow. That's yeah, you know, sometimes the truth will stun a person. It just like when you told him that, you know, how foolish of you for trusting him. He saw, maybe he saw the depths of his betrayal. You know, as they say, betrayal, the worst part about it is never comes from your enemies, you know. And that's a tough one because now that tells you the enemy, you already got your guard up. It doesn't make sense for the enemy. The enemy can't betray you. He's your enemy. He's already, being that is betrayal in itself, openly. Betrayal comes from trust. Somebody can't betray you if you don't trust them because you already suspected that. Trusting is when you don't suspect it, you let your guard down. And you know, I don't even know if that's the proper way to put it, letting your guard down, but it's definitely a form of trusting and then being betrayed. It's like when we look at it from a psychological thing, how can betrayal exist without trust? So trusting someone opens the door to betrayal. And what is trust? Like when I analyzed that years ago, and I said, how would you explain trust? Like, say somebody was an alien and, you know, didn't understand the language, and you say trust, and they didn't have a word for trust. Like other languages do have words for trust, but it's like, well, what is it? Define. Like if somebody says, trust that bridge, that the regular man-made bridges, the rope bridges, and you know they swing and move, but you know some of them are pretty sturdy, but anything can happen. So if somebody says, well, trust the bridge, you know, I trusted the bridge to walk across. So what are you really doing? You're trusting. How can I explain that? You're taking a chance. So you're taking a chance that the bridge holds up till you get across. So when somebody says, trust me, in a way, it could be equated or defined as take a chance that
Or believe in me.
I believe. All right. So believe, if we look at it and somebody says, well, what do you mean believe? So it's like, believe. How would we, if they say, well, I don't understand what you mean. And it's like, well, just believe, just don't be concerned. And it could, belief is a form of trust, I think, you know, when you look at it. But then it goes back to, okay, I don't understand what you mean when you say believe. You say, well, trust me. So I don't know what trust means either. How can you define it more? And it's like, well, take a chance. If it says believe, it would be take a chance that what I'm telling you is true. So you're basically taking a chance on that. So you don't know for sure, and I could be lying. So I'm saying just believe it. Take a chance that it's true. And we know that that most of the time turns out not to be true. And if they say trust instead of believe, again, it's like trust that person. Well, so you're saying take a chance that that person is not going to mislead you, or that they're going to pay you back, or that, again, it goes down to that they're being truthful with you, that they're being honest. Take a chance. So the common denominator is chance, taking a chance.
Yeah, I definitely like that saying, and I've said it before multiple times. Trust no man. That's one thing I've always said. I really don't trust anybody,
Mhm.
including like myself a lot of times, because it's just like I need to always second question my own thoughts and my own actions, because
Mhm.
I don't have like 100% accuracy or like confidence, and I do got to question what I think and what I do.
That's good, because now you're observing yourself, which is very smart, because observing yourself is important. That's a level of smarts that a lot of people don't attain, because they trust themselves when they should know that, wait a minute, if you can really trust yourself, fine. But understanding that, hey, I gotta monitor myself, because I know that I could go astray. That's a very careful way of looking at things. You're less likely to make a mistake. I mean, you're not like immune to it, but it's less of a chance than a person that says, oh, I trust myself, and then they end up doing something that betrays themselves, showing that there's an enemy within. And that saying that says, where there's no enemy within, no enemy without you can harm you. So getting in touch with trusting yourself is a very powerful thing. And it's honest to, that honesty. If somebody says they can't trust themselves, like you see people from drug rehab and stuff, and they have to walk a very fine line, because they know if they hang out with the wrong people or in the wrong area, that they might start to use the drugs that they don't want to use anymore. That concern can prevent them from relapsing into becoming a drug addict again. And now they gain more trust.
Yeah, and you always gotta be leery of the people who I think get defensive when they're like, "Oh, you don't trust me? Like I did this thing, I did that thing. Like why don't you trust me on this other thing?" It's just like, hey, I appreciate your contributions and stuff, but I can't just dogmatically follow people because they have like some good merits or something,
Yeah, you could
right?
say, look,
Like
yeah, I
I
trusted you then, but I'm choosing not to
and
take
I
a chance now.
sorry, and I was just say I do get the on the flip side where it's like, hey, I thought we like established this trust, because I know I forgot what the hell it was exactly. Somebody told me something. I was inviting my one of my native friends to my house, and I was showing him my neighborhood, and literally they do a lot of dumping, which is kind of frustrating. I want to do something. I'm going to do something about that soon, maybe in next year, more than likely. And he turned around and looked at me, and he was like, "Are you dumping all this stuff in the thing?" And I was like, "What the? Is this guy really asking me this? Like that? This is kind of very frustrating, and I can't believe like I'm even." Associating with this guy if this is what he thinks about me, like that I'm gonna be dumping all this trash in the back of my house. And yeah, so I can see like on both sides how it's like, look, I need to have this like level of suspicion and skepticism, but and then on the flip side it's just like, yo, I can't believe you just accused me of that. Like get out of my face right now before we start a fight or something.
Wow. Wow. That's it tells you, what he said lets you know that, okay, that's, at least he was honest to tell you. So now you know to be like, okay, this is what this guy thinks about me. If he wouldn't have said that, and then you gain that false sense of trust, it probably would have been worse. So it's so in a way, what do they say? Some things are blessings in disguise, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he was a jerk anyways. Like he didn't have there's a lot of red flags, and he was disrespectful, and because I look younger and I am shorter, and he was just straight up trying to take advantage of that.
Wow. It's good that you can see that, because there's such a lack of people that we can even talk to about anything. And I think that opens the door to trusting the wrong people, because there's a shortage of people that you can even relate to on some topics. And sometimes when we can relate, we've mistaken that for being able to trust the person.
Agreed. I agree with that 100%.
Thanks. Yeah, I've noticed that, because there's such a lack of people. I still hang with people that it's like we'll hang and then they'll be seeing a chick. And as soon as the chick like is free, next thing you know, they just will drop what they're doing. And it's like, wait a minute, we were supposed to do something, you know. We said we were going to go to this thing, and now all of a sudden that she's you know, like not working or free, you changed all your plans.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I've noticed that.
That happens to everybody. That story
Mhm.
happens to everybody.
Oh yeah.
Very
Yeah.
common. Yeah. But you just got to roll with the punches and accept it as part of life, part of this physical reality that we live in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the history, like the the title is again going back to trusting, taking a chance. And why should we? Like we we could weigh the factors. What do we gain by trusting history the way they said it happened? What do we gain from that?
Nothing, I
Yeah,
think.
nothing at all.
Yeah. It's a brainwashing,
Hmm.
get out of it.
And then we compare that to what do we gain by not trusting it,
I think a
by
lot.
questioning it. We gain to possibly learn something.
Yes.
So in other words, it comes down to trusting removes in a way the ability to learn, or the opportunity to learn, because it's saying, okay, if I don't trust, if I don't take a chance, what am I going to learn? Like if it's somebody that says say that they wanted you to do something and you didn't want to do it, say you didn't want to go somewhere with them, and they acted different, the not trusting them allows you to see that. If you trust them all the time, you can't see that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Teddy Atlas put it like that with the friends. He goes, when did this person ever prove that they were really a friend?
Yeah.
What makes them trustworthy? You know, when have they been tested? Like how the mind is saying, you know, the way people act, and it's like, you know, it's like, why should, if you say, why should I trust you, or this person has proven to be trustworthy, that's much more like understandable of why you would trust somebody than just trusting them,
Mm-hmm.
especially somebody that you don't even know that wrote a book that they're claiming to be a history book. When I see people that will point stuff out in some history books, whether it be a religious document or a historical document. So when we look at that, it's like there's a very, like, how do we define it? We know that the words are extremely important, you know, to say, okay, how do, if, you know, and I'm looking at the way that somebody's asking us these questions that wants to know, you know, Christopher, good to see you, man. He says, we used to say back in the 1980s, we used to say back in the 80s, the American movies told you the truth that they wanted you to know, and everyone worldwide accepted it. Yeah.
Yep. That's true.
Yeah, very much so, man.
I mean, I think of that movie Mississippi Burning that came out in the '80s, and I know that wasn't true. The way they portrayed the FBI as the good guys, the ones that saved the day. And I actually heard on interviews somebody who was a civil rights worker and was in Mississippi at that time said that that movie was complete BS. That the
Hmm.
FBI was nothing like that.
Hmm.
The way they portrayed it in Hollywood. But Hollywood has a way of influencing the masses. They know what they're doing. They know.
Yeah. I think there was a thing where I think it was let me see, was it mandatory? I think was it mandatory for slaves to watch theater
Hmm.
in ancient Rome and Greece? Because I remember we had a conversation about this like a decade ago, and they're saying it wasn't, but I remember this person was saying that. I remember seeing this too in writing. However, slaves were often present at performances both as workers and property. It says it was never mandatory in ancient Greece or Rome. Let me see, in ancient civilized, ancient slave cultures. That's what was it mandatory? Saying no, but of course, again, we're 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 asking something that has an agenda that has been programmed
Hmm.
by that's where we'd have to go into asking it to try to debunk its own programming. Christopher said the same case for the TV. They told us on TV. Yep. And it
Hmm.
was Richard Nixon, I think, that said it when he said the American people don't believe anything until they see it on TV.
Yeah, he was right.
Yeah, very right, man. And he was like super crook. I forgot who, it was something recently I saw with him. I don't know if was it Objective Ethics or somebody was saying that Nixon was somewhere. Somebody had said that yeah, he was high level crook, like very very crooked politician. I forgot where I
Or maybe he
encountered
just
that.
wasn't good at hiding it. Maybe he was crook. They're all crooked, but some are better hiding it than others.
Yeah, yeah. It's like uh, who was it? Hunter Thompson, I think,
Hmm.
was saying that in a society where basically like everyone's guilty, the only crime is getting caught. And, yeah, it's crazy because it's like the Nazi regime. You were wrong. You were only right if they told you, and then that only lasted as long as it was. So it's like a society where everybody's nervous, kind of like now.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like now, man. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to say the wrong thing and end up getting charged with something. I certainly don't. You know?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. When you think of the open air, like how Aldous Huxley put it, the painless pharmaceutical, painless prison camp where there's no walls. The prison is in your head, and it's not that they want you to obey; they want you to want to obey. So that's a very heavy. It's a very rich
Wait, you
state.
said they don't want you to obey?
They don't
You said they
want
don't want you to obey, they want you to what?
they don't want you to obey, or they don't just want you to obey. So in other words, they don't want you to obey, they
Hmm.
want you to want to
Yeah,
obey.
I agree 100%.
Oh, okay, okay.
So you see, so just obeying the
Willing
Lord,
participation, right?
yeah, it's not enough to just obey. You have to want to obey.
And we're doing that right now with Facebook, AI. We are obeying. Like, give me all your information, the most personal information you can. And we're
Mhm.
doing not, I mean, maybe not all of us yet, but we see that other people are. It's just the beginning. We're giving out our information. Where before, if we were to ask personal questions, we'd be like, get the hell out of here. That's personal. It's none of your business. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But not anymore.
Oh,
People are establishing relationships with AI. It's just the
mhm.
beginning too. And before you
Yeah,
know, we've
yeah.
given it all up. Yeah.
It's just a matter of putting on the goggles.
Hmm.
Once they put on the goggles,
Over.
And that's what it is. It's a mental prison. People will wear goggles,
Mm-hmm.
and that's their escape. And then we see these people that have basically just I mean, the amount of money that they have just greedily uh, taken from. I mean, you look at the whole schemes and everything that goes on, and
Mm-hmm.
you start to say, "Wow, this is not good." You got other people that are trying to get food. They're increasing stuff, um, and then you got some of these people that are just to a point to where they make their money off the exploitation of the mass
Yeah.
without taking like Walmart an example. It's like how is it that somebody can work 40 hours a week and not have health care and food and housing and everything covered?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy when you think about it. And then just making $30 an hour, and it's hard to find a job that's making $30 an hour.
It's going to get even harder.
Okay, MD, this is exactly what I was thinking when I because I have thought about like starting my own tribe, right? Or like I don't want to say a civilization, but I have definitely thought about like, okay, how does my actions affect the nation, right? Because I do feel like everything we do affects everyone. And I was like, work. If we had all the stuff that we're complaining about when it comes to work, if we actually provided those proper working conditions, people would flock to us. People would flock to the things that they want when it comes to like a proper work conditions and like uh yeah. So I was just thinking that would be a real magnet drawer to a community, a society, a up and coming thing for people to gather together. If they have the same work ethic, I think it would make a stronger like group dynamics. Maybe I don't know because if we provided like a good work with where we have shelter for them, we have good healthcare, right? We have uh like I don't know 30-minute breaks for naps or something along those lines. Like that would seem kind of outside of the ordinary for this slave culture that we live in, right? I think people would be more drawn to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, think of just like what's required to say, like, just like looking at an 8 hour work day. If you tell somebody, look, we we need you here on the farm for 8 hours. But if we don't try to slave a person out and we say, look, we need all of these tomato plants planted in this area here. Now, it might um it might take 8 hours.
Okay,
But
wait. Can I just stop you real quick because I feel like we kind of already got off on the wrong foot when you started giving your example.
okay.
Do you mind if I just add
Yeah,
one thing?
yeah.
I feel like we're messing up from the beginning because, and this could just be me overthinking it, because we're like already telling the person, "I want you to be here." Like in the thing I'm talking about, I want people to do what they want to do, and they go. We place them where they want to go. Like, so if somebody wants to be a farmer, it's just like, okay, we have everything you need to be a farmer, and we would like you to learn. Like, if you have anything to contribute, we would like to learn from the knowledge that you have as well, right? So, I I wouldn't want to be putting people in places that they don't want to do. Like, if your passion and your love is to cook,
Mhm.
then perfect. There's a whole bungalow or like a whole little like let's say a apartment complex where there's nothing but chefs and a in-house uh like cooking store thing. I don't know, like that's what I was thinking. Okay, because we that we just gotta let people choose. Like that's the best part. If you want to be whatever, yeah, we could provide that, and you could start doing it. That's what I was thinking. Not trying to force people to be like, look, we need farmers, we need potato people, so we're gonna designate some potato growers. Was that kind of what you're thinking, or am I overthinking it?
No. I'm thinking that they definitely need to do what they like to do. But say we have a town of very small town, 200 people, and we say, okay, we're going to let people choose what they want to do, and 150 people want to be cooks. So now when we look at it, we see that, okay, we only need 10 cooks. We need 100 people working in farming, from the people that are going to condition the soil, to the people that are going to plant the food, to the people that are going to pick the food. Now, those could be the same people. Somebody planting and doing the soil could also be the person harvesting the fruit. Now, if we have all of these cooks and we only have a few people that say, yeah, I like to farm, that's what I want to do. But, there's just, I mean, these guys are overworked. And then the people who want to be cooks are just standing around because we got too many cooks. How do we solve that problem? Because that will,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
So so I was just thinking right off the back when you're saying that. That goes into that the problem we're actually dealing with here at that point is what is that thing called? When you're like you're not it's not called collaborating, but it's when you're like trying to make connections with people. Uh I'm trying to think of the right word. Um Networking. That's
Mhm,
the issue that comes down to networking. If you're trying to start a community, right,
mhm.
a whole new town, and all you were managed to gather together were passionate people who wanted to be cooks, then that's kind of a fault on your part when it comes to the what did I call it again? Let me think.
Well, you see what Christopher is saying. They need to do what needs to be done over what they want to do. So if a
Yeah,
town,
but again, like,
mhm,
what is that word I just said? It's called I said it a second ago. Networking.
uh-huh,
I don't know why that word's so hard to. Do you have a problem with that word? Like, do you know what networking is, right?
yeah,
Like, do you see where I'm coming from when I'm saying if you want to build a rocket ship
hmm
and then all you have is 100 people who want to cook food, you don't see where you yourself are kind of like being a little inefficient instead of getting a lot of people who want to like have different skills on building a rocket ship as opposed to people who want to be a cook and you're trying to force them to build a rocket ship.
yeah. No, it's not forcing them to build it. It's saying, like how
Oh,
Christopher was
however,
saying, they need to. It's
say
like
it.
if you're going to have a rocket ship built and you can't find, because say you say, like, all right, look at it now. You can't
Okay, now you're
find
changing the scenario completely. Now
well,
that's a whole other scenario. Because
okay,
I'm saying we need to gather people that have skills in the things that we need.
okay, and you're
That's what I'm
right
saying.
about that. See, that's the proper way to look at it. So now gathering
So
people
that's
with
the
the right,
networking I was saying.
yeah, it's networking. That's definitely networking. But now, what if you can't find those people? Like right now, have you been able to find it? I haven't been able to find people that people might want to do it, but to get people to actually really do it, that's a whole different thing. So you can talk to somebody and they say,
There are people who are doing things that there are people who are doing things that I want to do, but the collaboration is the issue. Like everyone's not synchronized. I would say on a like a surface level. I would say maybe
"Mhm,
on a deeper level, we're all synchronized and we're doing things pretty good. But
mhm."
when it comes to like, do you got his phone number and did you call him up? I don't think that's really going on much.
But
Yeah.
what's the purpose of it, the bind? What is the main goal to be accomplished here?
Well, when it comes, I want to be able to raise. If I ever choose to like have kids, I want to be able to raise my kids in a good society, in a good environment. And I don't think we're living in one now. And I would like to try my best to make a good, like a good world, a good society.
Mhm.
We can't escape the matrix. We can't escape the system that we live under. That's not going to happen. But as far as distancing yourselves from,
I
let's say, bad people, yeah, that's possible for sure.
well, I never said escaping anything. I said trying to make it a little better. Like just because we're in a bad place doesn't mean we need to try to contribute more to the bad stuff in this bad world.
Well, I want to get a place, but I don't want to live in certain neighborhoods because of the high crime rate. You know, I leave my car outside, I'd probably be broken into the next day. So that
I
definitely is
agree. Yeah, definitely.
happening.
And that's why I said you got to realize who you're around and like your environment and stuff. That definitely matters. And yeah, there are some things you can't change.
Yeah, I
I
mean, we
agree with
can't
that.
change the
Like,
world, change the matrix, but we can definitely change our situation. That for sure we have control over.
wait, actually, I don't know. Everything is the one thing that doesn't change is change itself. That's what I believe. I think everything is always in a constant flux of change.
Yeah, but what we can control is limited, is all I'm saying, you know. I mean, I'm not saying be lazy or be lethargic about life. No, no, absolutely not. I think the opposite is true. You should be active and pursuing your goals and a better life and a better situation. I definitely, everybody should pursue that. Because look,
Okay, control isn't my goal. Influence for a better world is.
yeah, I mean, the world is going to be what the world is. You know, if this country wants to declare World War III and send everybody off to fight, then that's how it's going to be. You know, we can't, we can't
Yeah,
stop.
but we could like we have a choice on how we react to these things. Like, so if I want to try to be self-sustainable, I don't see why that's a bad thing. If this world's like burning all around us, like if I can have a self-sustainable ecosystem and the world's burning around me, why is that a bad thing?
Well, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying, is it realistic? Like the only people that I see right now in the current day that are self-sustainable are tribal people. And I don't want to live like a tribal person. But they are self-sustainable. They're not
Right?
dependent on the monetary system in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad. I wouldn't mind living like more, maybe primal or uh simple, but
But there's a
I
problem with
mean, you know
that.
well, real quick, you know what sounded real unrealistic
Hmm.
that long ago? Catching a rocket that was falling from the sky, a giant rocket. That sounded pretty damn unrealistic, and that's something. There's a lot of unrealistic things that has been done already. Is all I'm saying.
No, no, yeah, I understand what you're saying. But tribal people, the problem that they have is they're very vulnerable. If they're on land that wants to be taken over for, say they're on land that has precious minerals or oil or some type of resource that's in demand, there's really nothing they can do to stop it. They're just outgunned completely. So it's like nobody's safe in the end, is all I'm saying from this system. Um, it's just this. I don't know. I know it seems negative, my point of view. I'm just trying to be realistic. I'm trying to. I believe everybody should try and pursue reality as much as they can, no matter how unpleasant it may look to them. It's just,
I
it's good
think
to dream.
I just want to say okay. I just want to say I think they are trying to force certain cultures and certain lifestyles on us, and just because they're shoving those lifestyles and those cultures and technologies down our throats and inside our like bodies and stuff doesn't mean we need to just go along with it.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, but are we going to go along with it even? Let's just say we go along with it without even knowing. You see what I'm saying? It's that sophisticated. That like people who give up their information online or talking to these AIs, they don't realize they're going along with the system without even knowing it. I mean, there's ways to do this that are just, pleasurable. I mean, I guess
So
this is
there's no manipulating the system. The system is just like omniscient, un like what is it called? Undestructible force that no one can go up against. Is that what you're saying?
in a certain sense, yeah, in this physical realm, yeah. As we're being a physical being that we are right now, we're very limited on what we can do. Um,
I so there's not prayer isn't like a thing that's powerful and like God's will. That's not a thing.
but that's beyond the physical. That's the metaphysical. That's a whole different issues. Um, yeah, I believe in prayer. I believe in the metaphysical, but we're not in that realm. Is all I'm saying. We're in the physical realm. I mean, when they wanted to lock down the world, guess what? They did it. They did it. You know, nobody could stop it. They said it's time to lock down everything. Stay inside. We stayed inside. I mean, it is what it is. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, it's part of a wake up call. I think, like, literally, people are very passive, and that's how we got to where we're at. So, I mean, for me, everything that's happened is not like even a what is that thing called? A surprise at all. Like
Mm.
ever since I was a kid, I've seen all this stuff happening, and it basically seems the same. Like we're being treated like kids in school, and whatever the principal says goes. It doesn't matter what the students uh, want or say or do. Like the authority wins at the end of the day. I've never had a
Mm.
different perspective on that, and it doesn't seem like I don't feel like this world's any hopeless as I did when I was like a kid in school. Just having to face, you know, the school system.
Right. It's like people who say, well, I shouldn't have to pay my taxes because it's unconstitutional. All right. If you want to take that route, go ahead. I won't take it because I'm not willing to pay the price. You know, you can say,
I don't
well,
know
you,
what route. I don't know what route you're taking. I mean, I am the kid who was didn't like to stand up for the pledge, and I went to the principal's office for it. So
hmm
I mean, I don't know. Other than literally me just saying like, "Yo, I think we should have a different way of living." I don't know what route you're talking about because I okay, I do know what you're saying, like
hmm
kind of, but
like if you
I'm
buy
not
some
saying
land,
literally
you're still going to
anything.
pay property tax. You're not getting away
I don't
without paying.
mind doing that. Okay, if I
Okay.
have a business, yeah, I don't mind paying taxes on my business. But if you know, again, if I have influence, and a lot of like big businesses don't even have to pay taxes, which I think they should. Yeah, I would like to make some changes, and I would like to uh maybe get them to pay taxes and get more, maybe some breaks to myself. I don't know if that's like a hypocrite, but that's what I would want to do.
You made some tax breaks. I mean, they're able to do that because they're multi-billion
Yeah,
dollar corporations that influence our politicians. So that's how
yeah,
that.
and that's illegal, and that shouldn't even be a thing,
But it
right?
is. I agree it shouldn't be, but it is a thing. I mean, I can't deny that it is a thing. I'm not saying it's right. It just is. You know, it's going on every day. Our tax money gets siphoned out to other people's hands all the time, um, on a federal and a city level too. People get government contracts. Were they necessarily the best option, or were they had good connections? I think you'll find out a lot of times they just have good connections. Is it right? No. Is it the way I want it? No. But I accept that it is. You know.
Well, I think we do have like power and influence when it and we can change the world, and I think that's why they fight so hard and to try to like silence people and stop people because I think ultimately they need like each other to try to back each other up, like because of how influential the little guys actually are. That's what I think. That's my
Well,
opinion.
well, I think, I mean, they can be influential and they can be a threat, but those are the guys that sometimes, don't get deleted, is what I'm saying. When you become a real threat to the system, you get taken care of. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, but change can happen like slowly and discreetly. I think like things can happen and people don't even know where the initial starting point was, like a butterfly effect.
hmm I just think if that change was going to happen, it would happen 100 years ago, and it didn't. Now with the technology, they just have so much more control over us. I mean, we are just being databased constantly. Even our conversation we're having right now is being sent to an algorithm somewhere, probably. Being analyzed.
Yeah, there's definitely at least a couple of AIs who are like analyzing the conversation.
Yeah, I mean that's how deep it goes.
Yeah. I mean, I hear what the mind is saying, to start something. Um, we are there, like, okay, if we test what X is saying, that you can't really go against the system. Is there anybody that's going against it to prove that wrong? So we have some, what do they call, intentional communities. So we have places that people have their little permaculture showing us that resistance can happen. It is happening. We do have people with these places, but now, like we were talking about, one, they have to figure out how cooperation is going to work. This is why I think that they vet people when they come to the communities. For to start one like that, you could, because one, it's an idea that you would have to see, all right, is it feasible, is it able to be maintained, and look for examples. So we do see examples of that existing. I hear what he's saying about it's hard to go against it if you're going to build like something like a modern town, because if you build a modern town, now it's like, okay, where are you going to get your food from? Are you going to have supermarkets there? Now those supermarkets have to get the food from the farms. So I see why going back to the basics, it gets us more in touch with, okay, we're not going, we are the farm, we're going to be growing the stuff. So now what about the stuff that we need that we can't grow? So we would say, okay, what do we really need? Are we going to have livestock? So, like you were saying, with the goats and the chickens and stuff like that, right? You also have to take into account when you're raising that, you have to understand things that could go wrong with it. Like, say, if you're raising cattle, the hoof and mouth disease, even naturally raising cattle, that becomes a threat. Diseases that these livestock can get, and how to prevent them from getting those diseases, and also how to deal with it if they get that. Same thing with plants. So like we could say, yeah, man, we're going to grow our own food, we're going to raise this stuff, and then something comes through and starts attacking the plants, and we're saying, what the heck is this fungus or this bug that's, how do we deal with this? The modern world will say, oh, well, you got to spray pesticides. And that's the beginning of the end right there.
Yeah.
I think, how do I deal with this naturally? Because it's one thing, it's easy to say, let's grow the food and let's grow the livestock. Okay, that's easy enough. And that can be done. But to protect that, it's to say, well, how do I prevent from things going, if something happens, how do I keep this? How do I maintain it?
Mm-hmm.
So this is very important. It's
I
easy.
have
Yeah.
Well, I have thought about this, and I had come up with like two solutions. One of them would be to have like already enclosed ecosystems, like I was saying, have self-sustainable ecosystems, and they would basically be like uh, semi-enclosed because we would be actually getting stuff out of the ecosystem. But when it came to uh, microbiomes, it would outside microbiomes would slowly be introduced to the inside ecosystem uh for that purpose, specifically to monitor like
Mhm.
the changes and the different stuff that could end up happening. And the other one would be just an external one where people are just growing the stuff outside. And I was thinking maybe we could make some kind of like fungi resistant strain of of a thing, because I am into fungi just a little bit, and I do think it's a real good organism to solve a lot of problems with. So it is really good at adapting. And if there was like some kind of invasive species, we could train different fungus to attack that specific thing, and then figure out which one would be actually beneficial for the plant, and then train that to attack the thing that we don't want it to mess with the plant with. So there would be some like natural ways we could go about it, but uh, yeah, that's just two things that I was thinking about for dealing with crop
Well, what can I ask a
infestation.
question? And this would be for MD also. If you do, let's say you have the farm and you're growing your plants and you have your cattle, you have your livestock, and everything's working out fine. You have the skills, you have the training, to avoid diseases and so forth. But one day, a gang or say a group of homeless people decide, hey, great farm, a great place to live, or let's pick some of this corn, let's pick some of these plants and resell them. How do you stop that? How do you stop that? That would be my question for both of you.
Well, okay. So literally, part of my wait, answering too many questions. MD, I want to hear what you have to say.
Hmm.
That's what, well, you'd have to, one, I would say, how do you manipulate a fungus to protect the plant from what? You see, so we need solid things. You need to say, okay, this crop gets attacked. It's susceptible to these different things. This beetle, this fungus, this mold, and if it's not getting enough of the right nutrients or the right fertilizer to make it strong to fight the diseases. So it becomes to where we have to understand that how do we deal with this scientifically? Like, what are we going to have a lab? Are we going to use natural farming methods where there's ways to fight these things naturally? But it can't be saying we have to know exactly how we're going to attack that, how we're going to, defend stuff. Then Mr. X has a good point is you have to have some type of defense if somebody comes to steal. So like you said, putting it in an enclosure, or where people can't really get to it. So that requires some type of fence and or some type of thing, wall or something that protects it. Now you have to think, okay, what if somebody gets through the fence or gets over the wall? Because that is a possibility. What do you do then?
Right.
And now we're dealing with, all right, if you kill them or they try to kill you and you defend yourself and they end up getting ended, now you have to deal with the local authorities.
Thank you. Exactly. And
So now it's like, okay, how do I deal with that? Do I are we going to have a graveyard to put these people? Or are we, because now you get into where they're going to say, well, look, we have the monopoly on violence, which they do.
Okay, so this is my idea that I was thinking of because it was part of my plan that I was working on.
Okay. Just give me,
Uh,
be right
well,
back.
well,
Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
okay. Well, first of all, like when it comes to where the plants are going to be grown, there's different ways that we could go about this, especially if we're talking about making a whole new society or community or whatever. Especially if we're talking about like trying to, I want to switch it up a little bit. So I was thinking we could have some type of like hydroponic system, vertical growing, like stations in our living quarters, like in either like the backyard or somewhere inside the house, like literally inside the house. And the way the houses can be made, I've seen these Japanese houses where literally it looks like a round circle, and the house structure is on the outside, and then there's like an inner area where it's just basically exposed to the outside, so you could have stuff growing on the inside of the house structure because again it's just like a giant backyard but inverted into in the circle. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but yeah. So that would be one thing, just proper location, like it. So because basically, what you're asking, Mr. X, is what are you gonna in the scenario I'm talking about? You're basically saying, what are you gonna do if someone breaks in your house and just takes your stuff, right? That's basically what you're saying, right? Are you there, Mr. X? They're gone. They're both gone. I'm talking to myself. Yeah, I'm gonna see
No,
what
no,
chat,
I was
chat is
listening.
saying.
I was listening. I guess Mr. X, thank you for the support, brother. He says, "Great answer, MD. Thank you, bro." I think Mr. X is
I was
away
just taking
from.
a little break. A
Oh,
little break. I'm back.
oh,
I
oh,
heard you though. I
oh,
heard you in the background.
oh.
The mind. Yeah, that's exactly what I was getting at. How can you defend that? Because MD answered it correctly. Eventually, you got the state involved. You're no longer sovereign anymore. You know they're investigating. They're
Well,
doing
I
a.
never said anything about sovereign. I don't know what you're talking about. I never said anything about
Okay.
sovereign. I wanted to have actual like a security business, and it was gonna be license. I'm a licensed security guard, so I mean, I'm
Yeah.
state certified to be an officer, and I'm not trying to like get rid of my social security number or anything like that. I'm not. I want to do business in the United States. I am a United States citizen. Like I don't know what you are
Okay.
talking
Well,
about when you say
more
going
clarity.
against them because what?
I guess I'm just getting more clarity then. So basically, in the end, you just want to start your own farm.
No, I want to have a whole like a different society, a different community that is different. That is yeah, just a little different. Like I would say not a farm. I want to have a business. That's what I said. I want to start a business,
Okay,
and if
business,
that
but it's
business
still under
could,
the same system. You need permits, you need licensing, you
yeah,
know,
I'm gonna do that. Yes.
still under the same umbrella. You're not I mean, you can start your own, group and business, but it's still under the authority of the United States government or whatever government it's set up in, whatever country. That's all. That's my whole point.
Well, under the authority of okay. Well, now you're just doing like this weird. You're I don't know like in you're controlled by this these people because you're following the rules? Like, is that what you're doing right now?
Well,
Because
I was just trying to
I
understand.
mean,
My thought was that
I,
you want
I thought I thought I was under God's authority, but you're. I guess are you under God's authority or are you under man's authority? Because it
to
sounds like you like I don't know what the hell you're under.
a religious argument here. I'm trying to say that there's no
I
real,
believe in like a higher power.
and so do I, but I'm not talking about that. That's a whole different argument. I'm
You,
saying
well, you're talking about authority. Like whose authority are we under?
if you break the
I
law,
don't think it's man's. Uh-huh. Yeah, under a certain
law,
extent. Yeah, of course, I agree.
do you agree if you do something against the law that you can face punishment?
Definitely, yes. Yeah.
Would you? Yeah. Okay, that's all I'm saying. There's consequences to actions, and I don't want to take. I recognize the consequences. That's why I prefer to follow the law. I don't want to go to a cage.
Yeah, I agree. I
No.
agree. I'm not disagreeing with that, but I think there's a deeper level of authority here, and I think when you put like a certain, I don't know, a certain thing, you're putting authority because authority. I agree, like that authority does apply in that sense, but I feel like when you start using it a certain way, then you start giving it more power than it actually deserves, and that's what you're doing. That's what I feel.
Okay, you feel like I give it more power than it deserves. Well, I feel like in this physical realm, it has a lot of power. It can really change my life.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. Authority has power. Yeah.
yeah. And I just accept the power that it has. That's why I pay my taxes. I follow the law, and I don't break the rules because I don't want to pay the consequences.
But well, the issue I have with you is you don't acknowledge the power that you have because you're like acknowledging and accepting the authority of the power of authority.
Well, if we do want to get religious, didn't Jesus say, "Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, but give your heart to the Lord"?
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. What's wrong with that?
Pretty
Well,
much.
is that like going for or against what I'm saying? Because that's perfectly fine with me.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just saying, if I was living in Roman times, I would abide to the Roman rule. And I know as far as what could,
What rules have I said? Wait, but I'm not understanding why you're saying this. Because what have I said so far where I said don't abide by American laws or rules? Whenever I ever made that claim or even like anything in that like even l- same circle, I don't even think I've ever even
No, you didn't
like
say that, but my
promoted anything like
was
that.
trying to separate yourself from the society of that we were living in. That was my understanding of what you're accomplished. You're trying to accomplish your own city, your own culture, your own society away from the society that you currently live in. That was my understanding.
I literally said multiple times that I want to make a positive influence on the society that I'm in.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. So it's not separation necessarily. It's more of a positive influence.
Yeah, this whole separationist talk is kind of weird. I've never said that.
Okay, all right. Then my
I
misunderstanding.
do I do want to, yeah, there is this like if there is crazy people. And like you were saying, like there is bad communities, there is bad uh what is it called, neighborhoods.
Yeah,
Yeah, I want to separate myself from that. If that's bad, then I don't know what to say. I don't want to be around
I'm not saying
certain
that's bad at
things, certain
all.
people.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing.
And if that's you saying that I'm a separatist or trying to separate myself from America,
No,
then I disagree.
what I was saying was if it was, I guess maybe I misunderstood your position. I thought you were trying to separate from the whole system that is here, not necessarily bad neighborhoods. Bad neighborhoods, yeah, you can separate yourself from. But I'm talking about let's just say for the sake of argument, the American government. As long as you're in America, you're under their
I've
law.
never voted once. Well, I've never voted once in my life, and I don't plan to. So I don't know if that what that means
But
to
that's
you.
not a law. It's not, you're not required to vote.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not trying to break any laws, but yeah, I'm not trying to participate in the system as well. So in this fake, democratic thing,
But
supposedly democratic.
you participate in every day because when you get a paycheck, you'll just look at your paycheck. You'll see it takes out for Social
That's why I
Security.
said I try to participate it as little as possible. I don't try to break the rules, but I don't try to participate in this as much as possible. Is what I said.
Yeah, as
Like
much
if I
as
didn't have to do those things, I wouldn't.
right, but we have to. We have to pay for our driver's license. We have to pay for our sales
Yeah,
tax.
for now, except for the Amish.
Yeah, but they're still under American law. They just can't do whatever they want to. You know, they're not totally free.
Well, whoever said again, like who's talking about just doing whatever they want?
Okay, well,
Because I'm
it,
talking about just growing food and trying to be self sustainable, and then you start throwing that to like doing whatever you want and anarchy and separatist groups and like
mhm.
this. I feel like this is like a part of the whole thing that happens whenever you start trying to talk about like solutions. People are like, oh, 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 we know what happens when people start talking about solutions. The bad guy comes and stops it. Like
I'm not trying to
that's
stop
I think
anything. I'm not trying to stop anything. I'm just trying to be realistic about everything. That's all.
I mean I agree. I've agreed with everything you said up
Hmm.
until the point where again the the amount of power you give authority or the amount I don't want to say respect. I would say like again like the lack of acknowledgement of your own ability to make changes is what I have an issue with ultimately.
No, no. Okay. This is how I look at change. I just look at it from a very based approach. If you really want to make some changes, like I actually, believe it or not, I've thought about having on my own farm too. That would be like a wonderful way of life. But I also acknowledge the fact that it takes capital, it takes money, and that's just reality. It takes skills, it takes money, and if I don't have the skills necessarily to run the farm, I may have to hire people who do have the skills. So it takes a lot of money in order to accomplish what you want to accomplish. I just accept that fact. If somebody tells me, no, you don't need the money, you could do it just on your own, by your own power, your own free will, you just do it. I disagree, you know? I mean, you can do something. Maybe you can plant a tree or plant a tomato plant, but, that's not really what going to be self sustainable, you know?
Okay, this is a thing I've said before, and I've had these conversations with other native groups. They're like, money, we need more money. That's all we need.
Hmm.
Let's say you have like $100,000 million, right? Uh, I thought at some point you having money makes you a target. It puts a target on your back. Like, is that not a thing? You just need, but you because you're saying all you need is money. I thought money is like people. Like the more money you have, the more problems you get. That's from my experience, and haven't had that much money.
Sure. To answer that question, I mean, if I won the lottery, I would make sure I remained anonymous. I probably wouldn't tell anybody. That'd be the best case scenario for me. I wouldn't want anybody knowing I had the money.
The financial bankers are the most ones you have to worry about. They're the ones that are going to know all your business.
Yeah,
And they're the ones that are the most like dangerous to even tell anything. They're going to be the ones that are going to screw you over if anybody.
sure. If I won the lottery, I know I have to pay my taxes. I'm going to pay them. And if they want 50%, that's what they're going to get. I don't have a choice in that. I can't fight that system. I really can't. I mean, I can hire some lawyers and maybe they can make things a little bit better, but um, that's, I just accept the system for what it is. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so you get super rich, you want to start a business, right? But you don't want to tell nobody you have money.
I want to, as much as I can, only maybe my daughter, I would let her know, but even then that would be risky because she might tell somebody else. And before you know it, it's spread all over the place. And people I don't want knowing that I have money, know I have money. And then yes, I'd become a target for sure.
Well, okay, right off the back, if you're talking about the lottery, they automatically, I believe, as far as I'm aware of, they do announce that, like, that's a public thing that when they announce
It
you.
depends on the state because I know in Florida, I think some people have won it and they remained anonymous. It depends on which state, I think.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But in the end, yeah, I would be a target. But at the same time, to start this farm, this self-sustaining farm that I could live off of and eat off of and feed a community, it's going to require capital.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
I'm just trying to keep it real.
but okay,
I'm
so
in no way trying to downplay your goals or your dreams. I think they're wonderful. I just, if somebody asks me for advice, I always try to keep it real. And sometimes people don't like that when you keep it real. But it's just like, well, what do you?
okay, okay. This is the thing though. Money makes like it. Money it does a thing where it makes us actually devalue things that are actually valuable, right? That's the thing that money does. And I think you don't realize the actual value of like human collaboration because I think if you had like if there was a thing where it was like, look, you could either have this much money or you could have this much uh people who are willing to collaborate with you. I think you would get more done if there was more people willing to collaborate with you as opposed to you just having more money. That's my opinion. Because yeah, that's just what I think. I'm not sure. I would like to believe that because I don't think. Yeah, I'm done. I'm done talking.
No, no. And then some people say that's the reason for the church is to be able to collaborate with people who won't backstab you.
No, they take your money. What the hell?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I believe the thing.
but some people who have common belief systems as you, that won't backstab you.
No, no, I disagree. I grew up in a church. I was born in a church. It was made to program and brainwash people, and it's just like the school system. It makes you obey authority. That's all it's for. No offense.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying something that's established. You establishing your own church, your own religion, your own community. You see what I'm saying? Based on a certain set of values. You want to collaborate with people, but you obviously don't want to collaborate with con artists and scammers or criminals. You want people who are honest, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that requires you to find people of a certain moral character, of a high moral character, or one that's similar to your own. And yeah, that could work, but it's not always easy to find in this world. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I don't know if I'm done. Max.
What would you think the mind is easier to do? To convince people to collaborate together or to pay them to collaborate?
Well, pay them, obviously.
Okay, so that's the solution. To convince people, that's like trying to herd up chickens by hand. You can't, it's you if I mean I've been on a farm, it's hard to even catch a chicken.
Yeah.
Um we already know that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. This is, in a way, when you look at the whole modern system, you understand that, in a way, like if you try to do something, sometimes it's better. You're not going to get cooperation that easy. People are not thinking properly. The majority of people are idiots. They don't realize that, hey, you got to do mathematics to understand how to store enough food to where you don't starve in winter, or to how to store food to where you're not always breaking your back growing, and all of this stuff. You got to say, how can I lessen the load? And in just the basic stuff of growing food, of storing food, you have the unforeseen factor of catastrophes, and that's what's destroyed farmers that tried to just have farms even that weren't isolated, where they say, man, the locusts came through, we didn't know how to stop them, the soil got depleted, how do we, the things aren't growing, the livestock. So understanding how to maintain, that's extremely important. It's just as important as knowing how to grow the food. Say, okay, you can grow the food, you know how to butcher the animals and stuff, where you could do it maybe in a vegan community. I've seen these intentional vegan communities, but I don't know, like there's going to be some things that they need. Like I don't think going full vegan is the way, but I mean, if you look at butchering animals, you got to really know what you're doing. And like there's people that catch wild salmon and they dry it. They have films of it on YouTube, and the lady shows you the worms coming out the salmon. She goes, yeah, she goes, we cook it. She goes, we just have never encountered salmon without worms. So now you got to understand that there's things that you have to take into account. Like there's farmers in France and Spain that, they make sure none of their chickens have salmonella. If any of them are tested with it, they kill off the whole flock because they know how quick it can spread. They want to make sure these birds or their food is clean. Now you can have it with salmonella and cook it extra to kill it and all of that stuff. So now we're getting into a technology of the best way, if you really want to form something that is at least partially self-sustainable, is look at the system that's working now to say, all right, we're eating chlorine-bathed chicken. Sometimes we don't even know. And the bathing in chlorine is to kill something off. Other countries are like, look, that's unacceptable. But it's either that, or you're going to take a chance getting the salmonella and stuff like that, or whatever else is lurking, other types of bacteria, because that's what I think they use the chlorine baths for. So there's a lot you have to take into account of food. The shelter isn't as hard because you're saying, okay, we have to build shelter that lasts. Now, just like food, things can happen, hurricanes, tornadoes, natural disasters and stuff. How do I prevent that now? So we see in regular societies, all right, it doesn't happen that much, but it does happen. We do see in some areas that the natural, all the so-called natural catastrophes happen. Whether or not they're natural, that's another question. Because it's as if these guys got some type of thing that has something to do with the weather. The amount of people I see that argue over the weather is just ridiculous. Yeah, and Mark is right. The water in nature never needed that chlorine. There's a guy that moved to Canada because he didn't want to have chlorinated water in America. But now you do face other problems. Back in, I think when they introduced it, I think there was a problem with cholera in the water. Let me see if I can find that. Because I think it was in the early 1900s when they in water. Let me see. Water treatment. So why it was, it's a powerful disinfectant to eradicate deadly waterborne pathogens like cholera, typhoid fever, and dysentery. So it revolutionized the public health in the early 20th century by providing a reliable, cost effective. So, cost effective is the word here to make more drinking water safe for human consumption. So, let's just say if it's not as cost effective, it's going to cost more, but it's safer because chlorine gets rid of it, but chlorine has its own problems. So, the secondary disinfection, unlike other treatments, chlorine leaves a residual. This means small, safe amounts, they say. So-called safe. See, I like the way they throw that in there. Small, thought to be safe amounts of in water should be the way they word it, as it flows from the treatment plant to your tap, preventing new bacteria or viruses from regrowing. Controlling biofilm. So it prevents the biofilms, the slimy layers of microorganisms that can build up in water mains, pipes, and storage tanks. So we're
Well,
getting
it didn't say it prevents it. It said it controls it, so it's still there. It's just
exactly.
minimal.
So we can say, how do we control it? So we don't have to prevent it. So, how do we do that? So this requires, we're in a modern world. You can't, like you already said, you can't go back to the rituals of everybody drinking out the same cup and all that stuff. You know, this is if you really want to do this, I've thought about it myself. One man, it's too much for. And I know what you're saying. It seems like a diversion to go and try to make the money to come back and do this, but you're not going to accomplish this without money.
Yeah.
And it's not saying we're worshiping.
Well, I was thinking like the money needs to be made by the people who want to do this, and literally the 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 making of the money is the indirect building of the community. That's what I was thinking. Not like where it's like, okay, we need to get the money and then get the community. It's like, no, the community uh, gets the money by building the community, by building the actual stuff
Okay,
that we want.
all right. Now let's look at it this way. This is what you're basically
The
saying.
foundation.
I'll put it in a different context. Say I want to start a show like this, and I try to gather people to come on, right? That would be much harder than just starting the show like I did and having people come on. To tell people, hey, man, I want to make a show that streams every night, and we're going to talk about these different subjects, you think that's more realistic, or me starting the show, doing the stream every night, and then people can come to it? And I'm just saying that in the analogy of the community, of the town. Do you think it's easier to get the people together? Oh, they got common interests, or starting the town somehow? That.
Yeah, I think starting the town personally.
Exactly.
That's what I
So
think.
that's what we're saying. And what do you need to start the town? Brother Ali, good to see you, man. He said, war areas are called theaters. Greetings all. Well, thank you, brother. Wow, that is true. Yeah, the war is basically the theater. And Mark is right. We're just eating, dead bacteria in a lot of it, man. It's brutal, but it's true.
Yeah.
So you're seeing, right, that it's easier to start the town. And we went over what is required to just start the town. Money. Because the first thing you need is what? Land.
Yep.
Right? So we need land. And then we got to figure out, how do we secure that land? Because if your land has the limits, the outskirts, the borders, you don't want stuff just walking into the land. This is what farmers have a problem with, especially livestock farmers. Wolves, coyotes will start to eat their livestock.
Yep.
So we need to have the area to raise the food, whether it be crops and livestock, and just as important, how to protect it. Because you can raise.
MD, I'm not trying to be mean, but have you were you born or throughout your life, have you had a lack of money? Like, were you on the lower spectrum of the poverty level or something?
Yeah, I've
I'm
been
just asking.
poor and I've had money too. I haven't. I won't say it's like $1 million money, but I've had money.
Just like
And
me.
You didn't,
Same
okay,
with
when you
me.
had the money, you didn't have issues with people like being real fake and using you and
oh
just
yeah,
like
totally.
picking
But
up you just for your money?
you already know that from the show and how I am. You know, I'm quick to tell somebody to put them in their place. I've had people that have wanted money, and I tell them no. I've had people that have told me, people that helped me get the money, saying, "Look, you should hire this person that I fired already," and I lost thousands of dollars by rehiring them, by listening to stupid people. But I got to be stupid myself to listen to a stupid person, or listen to anyone really. It's sort of like, if I'm going to mess it up, what I learned is, if I'm going to mess it up, I'm going to do it myself. I'm not going to listen to somebody else. Now, people will ask you, what I learned from having some money and really, for lack of a better word, messing it up where I could have used it for better stuff. I did accomplish building things and making apps and stuff like that, but I listening to people was really the downfall. I still have my ideas of what I think would succeed. Scribe and I talk about it, and we'll get into arguments, and it'll be like, okay, um, he doesn't understand, because the bottom line is you got to think of a way to make money. Now, to make that money might not be in direct correlation with the town you want to build. The money might have to be
I think it should. I think it should.
well, it doesn't matter what you think. What matters is, can it be done easier that way or easier the other way? Brother Ali says, our friend has never seen the old MD from the yeah, for a yes, from the MG dictionary. Yep, you're absolutely right, bro. Yeah, man. Yes, exactly. Smart money never flaunts, man. Smart money never flaunts. So, like, I never went around telling people I had money, but some people knew that I got an investment or I created something that enabled me to get a certain amount of money. And that's where I was saying, like, when I said, if you have money, it's easier to pay people to do it instead of try to say, hey, I want to form a community together. Just the way you see with the show, it's easier to start a show and then say, look, I'm streaming every day, or they'll see that you're streaming every day and they come, as opposed to telling people, hey, I want to start a show, let's do this. For some reason, they're less likely to get together to do it because it doesn't exist yet. It goes back into the build it and they will come strategy. So I built the show and people came. But if I would have tried to get people to build the show, you see that that's almost a pretty unrealistic way of doing it. I'm not saying it can't be done, but you got to get some really motivated people that want to put in, and then, not see it right away. So
And you know what? The good thing about being individuals is that literally, I think the way you go about things could be good and beneficial for you. And literally, everyone has a different role to play. So I could be wanting to do my thing a certain way, and that could be my contribution. And we have different ways of contributing to the thing, and it doesn't literally need to be exactly the same way.
well, it has to be something that'll sustain it. Like what Brother Ali is saying here, when people want to form communes or move together with me, he's the first one to leave. That most of those endeavors make you lose money, and that's absolutely true. So unless you got unlimited money, you have to take that into account. And really, it's the smartest way to do it is to find people that have the skills to keep it running. To say, okay, one, you find people that want to do it. You say, okay, this guy, he's a farmer. He understands farming. It's like, hey, I have 50 acres. So I bought 50 acres of land. We're going to need roughly five, it could even go as much as 10 acres. So we're going to need about 20% of the 50 acres. So that's 10 acres, right? For livestock and growing. You're a farmer, and This is my land. I'll take care of paying the taxes and everything. All you got to do is live on the land and take care of the food. Now, that farmer might say, well, I can't grow everything myself, but I know exactly what to do. I know that when I see the plants, say they got a deficiency, I know what to put in the soil to make it work. All right. So you're earning, you're showing me that you're worth the 50 grand a year, that which is not a lot of money. So now not only do I have to have the money for the 50 acres and how to keep it going, I got to keep this guy on the payroll. And somebody might say, well, why do you got to give him 50 grand? He should be doing it just for the fact that he can stay there for free and he gets everything for free. Yeah, he might, but the 50 grand is him collecting money in case he wants to leave, because he might be doing it to say, look, this is my profession. If I can get somebody that will say, look, I'll stay here and I will do this in exchange for having a farm to stay on and to be part of this community, even better. But it doesn't say that I'm going to be able to do it for free. So it would be, I would have to provide that guy with everything he needs. Most of the time, he's going to have a wife and kids. So now it's like, all right, how do I keep this maintained to where the farmer part of it is there? Then he can't work the farm by himself. So now I got to get, say, 10 people to work on that farm. Maybe we're going to need machinery, or maybe we say, you know what? All right, we're going to do it the old style. We're going to go straight Amish. We're going to use an ox and a plow. Couple of oxes. So, okay, what's going to take to feed them? Now we need to make sure we got a livestock expert to make sure that, okay, if anything goes with these wrongs with these oxes, you know how to treat the disease or fix it or to keep it maintained. So now this is just to get the food squared away. So that's the main thing. You need food, shelter, clothing. So now we got to say, okay, the house that the farmer stays in, the barn, all of this stuff, we need professional contractors or professional construction guys in exchange to say, look, we got another 10 acres here and we're going to build 20 houses, or say 40 houses, a quarter acre each. Say 10 or even 20 of those houses might have to go for the construction workers. So in exchange for building and maintaining the town's, like construction, we got to say, all right, you're getting free room and board and we're paying for everything, but you guys got to take care of everything. We need guys that can do electricity. And now we got to figure out, how do we get electricity? How are we going to generate electricity? Are we tapping into the grid, or how do we truly stay off the grid? So unless we're going to be lighting lamps at night, which could be a strategy to say, okay, we got now kerosene lamps or some type of oil lamps. In the daytime, we got daylight. Maybe we can figure out something we might have to buy some technology, batteries, or figure out how to make our own generators, maybe some way to generate the energy. Now we have that. Now, if people get sick, what do we need? We need a medical place. Say a contractor breaks his arm or something happens, or say somebody gets sick. We need a hospital. Doesn't have to be a big main hospital, but it has to be a place that can take care of people in case of emergencies. You have that now. There's going to be a few other things that put in there, but I'm just explaining 3 different steps right there. So you see how much and this is a very quick overview, how much planning would have to go into this thing. And I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying, if you really want to make it a reality, you got to start planning on it. This is a great place we can talk about it, but you got to say, hey, I got a blueprint and this is what I want to do. So this is where the 50 acres is going to be. And then of course, we're going to have to poke holes in it. It's going to have to be bulletproof before it's going to work. First, I would say, well, okay, where are we getting the water from? how are we getting the water? We're going to have to buy the steel pipes or whatever to pipe it in. And then, of course, how do we make sure the water's safe? So that electricity, food, shelter, and clothing, we might be able to figure something out with maybe buying clothing from some companies that have natural clothing or whatever, or a way where we can make our own textiles.
Can I ask? Can I say one thing? Because I was thinking about it while you were talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to you about Earthship homes before, right?
Earth what?
Earthship homes.
Earthship homes. I think maybe you might have mentioned it. What, it's like domes or something?
It's basically like a house and a greenhouse combined into one, and they're houses that are made to basically live off the grid, and they're whole communities that have these houses. They help each other build them, and they're made out of basically stuff that you could scavenge from your surroundings. So the first guy was using tires. Not everybody uses tires, but he was trying to use recycled materials. So, you know, glass bottles, that's a thing they use. They use other stuff. Uh,
Mm.
but yeah, I was thinking a caravan. I mean, people do caravans all the time where they go in, like, I have a Winnebago, and I've seen they do Winnebago caravans where they'll just go travel around the United States with each other. Um, and I was thinking, I mean, if they were had some kind of like traveling business, like a circus kind of thing, they could definitely rack up some money every place they go to, and then buy a piece of property and start building on it. I don't know why. I think that would be a good idea. I don't know
Well, look
why
at mine. Have you
no
seen
one's
any
done that yet.
communities? What about any communities that are already doing this? Maybe you could join up with one of them that already have the infrastructure in place. Maybe that'd be your best bet.
I do want to start, going to talk to them once I start traveling.
Yeah, maybe, that'd be the easier route to take, and then you could accomplish your goals, but with the help of an already established community, because that would wipe out a lot of the issues. You know what I'm saying? And you could accomplish what you're looking to accomplish. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely did have not. I definitely thought about it, and I have not. You know, I want to do it. That's all I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing I've been wanting to do.
And you should do it. I definitely think you should do it. I'm not here to kill anybody's dreams. That's not my point. It's just like if my daughter, she asks me for advice, I'm going to give her the most realistic advice I can. And believe me, sometimes it's taken the wrong way. Like, why are you being negative? It's like, no, I'm just trying to tell you how the thing really works. You know what I mean? It's like, do you want me to lie to you and say, yep, you can do it? No, I mean, no, it's like, come on, that's how I approach for my own goals. I want to learn different skills, but I know it takes a lot of work. And I've had to invest in myself in order to learn these skills, like taking online classes and paying for information, because a lot of times what you get out there for free just isn't good enough. You have to pay. If you really want to get the training that you need, you got to pay a professional to train you, and it costs money. So I pay the money.
Yeah, I just want to say the best type of. And do you know what the best type of enforcement is?
What's that?
Positive reinforcement.
But don't you think y'all should be realistic too?
Yeah, definitely, but in a positive, kind of like enforcing way.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying
Positive
for not to
reinforcement.
pursue your dreams at all. I think you should. So I don't know if you interpret that as negative, or positive,
It's not
but I think,
negative. I'm just saying.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, no, I'm saying you should pursue your goals. I'm not
Hmm.
saying not to at all.
Yeah. I want to reinforce what Brother Ali said. War areas are called theaters. And he brought up that's a very good point, where if you look at the military term theater of war, um, in military strategy, the theater is the physical or operational area where armed conflict occurs. And that's a great point that Brother Ali brings up, which is directly in line with the stream's topic, that war is a theater, that when referring, whether it's literal military doctrine or theater operations, theatrical to say, or the philosophical idea of war as a staged performance. The concept captures how conflicts operate, blending over geography with strategy and propaganda with physical combat. So as we were saying that is history a movie, we start to see that war is a type of theater.
It is.
So this is very important to understand. It includes land, sea, airspace. It's a concept famously defined in I think it was Carl von Clausewitz. He is a classic on war. But the scope, when we look at it, the theater of operations, the propaganda and narrative, the audience, while the physical battle is fought between combatants, modern warfare is often directed at a global audience. The theater, and what do we see? The global audience. They're putting this thing on constantly. The theater is used to shape political realities, public opinion, and historical legacies. So now this legacy, this movie of history, shaped by the political reality and the public opinion that they think, public opinion, some people think it's their opinion, but their opinion is really manufactured. Kind of like Noam Chomsky wrote that thing, Manufacturing Consent, even though he's still part of the machine because he recommended jab, all of this stuff. But again, not to say he can't point certain things out and they don't, they don't stop being true because he supports something like the jab. You can get, like I said, a piece of the puzzle from anybody. Everybody has little clues, whether they know it or not. It's just for the person to decide and to decipher and to distinguish, is that a clue? And it's like, oh yeah, theater is used to shape the political reality. It's a theater. Look at we see it. There's no other time than to see that political theater than now. I mean, you're telling me these guys aren't actors? It's blatant. We just saw the White House Correspondents' Dinner with the so-called assassination that did not really look too kosher there. You look at that and you start to say, wait, something's going on with this. This don't look like, it's like, oh, now they're asking for money. So the theater is used to shape political realities. Then the public opinion, the manufactured public opinion, it starts to appear. The people that see through the illusion, those are usually the minority. And this theater, this used to shape the political reality, that creates the historical legacies, which we see throughout history. The Revolutionary War, how much do they have to keep pushing that? The movies, the Patriot, and all this other stuff. The Civil War. I mean, how many battles and stuff? Once they make a movie about it, I question it right there.
Yeah.
And constantly pushing it. The propaganda, the narrative. These things are meticulously staged for public consumption. Great. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask you what you think about the painting of George Washington crossing the Delaware.
Oh,
propaganda.
That is so propaganda, man. It's like you think about and it slips by the simple mind. The thinker will say, wait a second, you guys painted a picture of this guy going across the Delaware? Mm-hmm. It's like, what is this, staged? That's what a smart person would say. This must be some staged stuff. And it just, to me,
wait, I'm out of the loop. What is the Delaware River supposed to represent? I don't even know.
George Washington crossing the Delaware. It's a picture from 1851. I'm looking it up right now. Has George Washington.
Yeah, I know this picture. I don't get the reference. I know the picture.
Well, we're claiming that it's propaganda, about war. It's funny. Okay. George Washington ain't doing nothing. Everybody else is struggling to steer the boat and row the boat, and he's just standing there like a doofus,
Yeah, it's the theater. It's the theater, the theatrical event created to glorify war, to say this is how it happened. When you really think about it, it's like, is that really how you think it happened? Mm-hmm. and to make a person
Oh,
think.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like, all right, let's see the General Custer thing, right? When they tried to oh, he was a brave, general, and all of this other propaganda, right? That's one way somebody might look at it, but just by being told whether it's totally true or not, another way somebody might say is this guy was an idiot. This guy, supposedly a general, walked into an ambush and got beat down. So that, and again, it's a theater. That area is set up. Somebody is behind the scene. Watch, I'm going to send this idiot here to go get massacred by the native people of this land, and then I'm going to make them look like the bad guys.
Yeah.
So now everybody's going to be like, "Oh man, they did that to good old General Custer, those savages." So the stage is set for the political reality to shape the public opinion and be put in as a historical legacy. These conflicts are meticulously staged for the public consumption. I mean, how many times they eat that up? If that ain't enough, hey, here's a picture of George Washington, crossing the Delaware. And we see that worship today with the maniac they have sitting in the Oval Office now, in the asylum, the Oval Asylum, building gold statues of himself. People trying to figure out what they're going to do, and they're talking about building a ballroom. These commanders, governments, they use optics, press releases. We see that happening, and symbolism to legitimize their cause. Remember, law legitimizes and legalizes aggression. They demoralize the enemy, but what people don't realize is the enemy is you. We don't, to be aware of the war that's waged against us is a high level of awareness. And to maintain that high level of awareness is hard because we got all the zombies trying to convince us that we're not thinking properly, that something is wrong, that we're jumping to conclusions. And we're saying, wait a second, look at how hard it is just to try to start an intentional community. It's we have to rethink this. So the war, the stage, what if they like they've done this throughout history with towns that have been built and were working good. They'll say, "Oh, look, somebody did some crime and they're from that town," and then you got a mob go and burn down the town. I mean, again, they stage these things. They set up the stage to get people to go and do these acts. It's ingenious in a way when you look at it. It really is the theater of war. It really is the movie called history. That's why I'm so glad Brother Ali brought this up, man. I appreciate that. War areas are called theaters. So the theater of Iran, the theater of the Middle East, this is what we're seeing, the theater of Vietnam. If we look at it that way, it takes on a whole new picture. The scope refers to that vast geographical zone, Laos, Cambodia, wherever it's happening. If it's Kashmir. So it refers to the geographical zone. It could be the European or Pacific theaters of World War II. That we saw that was straight theater. I mean, if you look at all of the bombing and even the test sites, the Nevada nuclear test, straight theater. More than theater, they were saying that some of the models that they showed were like miniature models. And people will believe that. That's the way the Agent Smith will come out and they'll say, no, those models weren't miniature. It's like, look at him already defending something he's not sure about. Straight Agent Smith.
Yeah, I want to say I remember when I first came across that. I don't want to say theory. What would be another word for it? From that perspective of like, look, this is what's going on. I was like, holy shoot, yeah, that kind of makes sense because they were like, look, they're saying all this other stuff got destroyed. How did the camera just so happen not to shake, not to get destroyed, and to be able to film all this stuff? It's supposed to like had all these effects with radiation that they were unaware of, but the electromagnetic films or that they were filming on were just fine, and the whole cameras and everything were stabilized and didn't get destroyed or anything. Like, how did that work?
Straight Hollywood. MGM, that's just straight Hollywood. When they see, you're seeing through the illusion because you're asking questions. You're analyzing it. You're saying, wait a second, you're leaving belief behind. You're saying, I'm not just going to believe that. Let me think about it. And once you start thinking, the belief gets put on hold. You suspend belief. But the people that believe it suspend thinking. They're like, no, I saw the film. I believe what it showed me. Now that person doesn't think. You're not going to think and believe at the same time. So the fact that you're thinking, you put belief on the side. So let me put this on the shelf and think for a second. You're saying, wait, why didn't the camera shake? Why didn't all this radiation it's all? Why does it look like a miniature model?
And they also left them on the moon too. All the cameras. They didn't bring them back. They said to save weight, obviously, because if they brought the cameras back, they
Yeah.
can't.
All that stage, that theater of the moon, the fact that it happened again, $90 billion, and nobody really cares.
Mm-hmm.
They'll talk about 3-4 billion being sent to certain countries. It's like 90 billion in 1 year. And shows you the zombification of society. And that's all theater too. That's a theater of operations. The Artemis, specific subset of the broader theater, where actual hostilities, combat missions take place, entertainment missions. The fact that happened during the war, this war theater, it just says it's ridiculous. I can't even believe people are falling for this. It's like that is the big thing that people that you look at and you say, this is Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when Agent Smith is going to pop out of somebody. We saw it the other day on the stream. Denizen Ape or whatever primate. He he went off, and it's hilarious because he started saying stuff. I still think he's a cool guy, but he didn't realize that he wandered into a place that is already on guard. He may have been used to doing that on other streams.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't realize that this stream, it's like, yeah, we are prepared for that. Yeah. It's like you were saying with the town, you have to be able to defend what you build. So what was built here, nobody's just going to come in and just crash it. If they come in, it's going to be like, oh, you wandered into the dragon's lair. Welcome. It's not even like, oh, you better be afraid where you are, whatever. It's like, no, the dragon isn't afraid. The dragon lures the knight in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, come on in. Bring your horse too.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed that people don't, when there's all this rioting and there's all this like what is that thing called when righteous anger towards the authorities, one that they never target is like a prison. You never see people going to prisons and be like, we want reform, and like just like going and trying to take over a prison or something, right? Because I think they're obviously like afraid of the authorities and the prisoners. Like both people in there, they're just like, okay, we just need to stay away from these guys, basically. So yeah, that's what I was thinking when you were saying that. Like people would stay away from the Dragon's Den. People mention prisons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a little off topic. Sorry.
No, I hear what you're saying. You're using an analogy for it. That's a theater too. When you look at it, it's a theater of suffering. It's the house of pain, basically the horrors. When you look at that, it's really you start to see where, if you look at things in that aspect, you say, well, now it's easier to change the script. And that's, in a sense, what we're talking about when we speculate on these intentional communities. Remember, we say things that we sometimes don't really mean. And if we analyze that, we can grow a lot smarter. Like when you say you want to build an intentional community, if you really put your mind to it, you can have that on track within a couple of months. You have it built in a year. Even if you were to start and say, you know what, man, I'm going to start with 1 acre. And somebody might say, well, that's crazy. He said, look, I'm going to learn how everything works, how to maintain this 1 acre with 2 houses on it. So now I grow a certain amount of food. So I'm understanding, okay, this is how I can get this grown, but I still need these other things. I still need salt. It's like, who am I going to get salt from? Like, where does salt come from? How do I get meat? Well, let me see if there's somebody that has a farm. Now, that's one way of saying, okay, I'm getting the fresh meat from here. But now to get that meat, to get these supplies, you need money.
Mm-hmm.
You need money. And we're in a time where with the internet and stuff, there is ways to figure out other ideas to make that money, to say, okay, I'm going to use that money to start this. And now when I build it, other people might be more inclined to join than if I just tell them I want to build it. And you see that.
I had a best. I had a I had a friend that I known since the 4th grade, and I think I said this before. And we were supposed to start a business and stuff, and he was like pretending that he wanted to do everything I wanted to do, and I just ended up finding out he was just basically like doing math, right? And he was willing to string me along, like you're talking about in the beginning, the cipher thing. That's a thing. Like people are going to pretend to be on your side and be this and that, and even like contribute more than somebody who is actually loyal to you. Like people will be more loyal to you than you realize, but the ones who are contributing are going to seem that contribute more are going to seem like they're the more loyal ones or whatever, or the more faithful, and they'll screw you over. Like they'll literally end up stabbing you in the back for money, for whoever gives them the most money. If you're giving them so much money, they're like, okay, well that's cool, but this person gave me more money, and that's not the kind of community I want to build. Like somebody who's willing to stab you in the back for some more money.
Well, why are they stabbing you in the back? Like, how do they get to
Because
do that?
they want money, because their
What
motivation
did
is
we talk
money.
about earlier? What did we talk about earlier on the stream? How does somebody get the opportunity to stab you in the back? How does that happen?
Well, because you trust them.
Exactly. Boom. You beautiful. You hit it right on the button. So we're seeing that, okay, now that we know that, and we're going to fall into that again because we're good people. We're going to trust people. It's going to, I mean, unless we don't want it to let it change us to the point to where we become hardened. And then the good people don't even get a chance. We say, no, we got to be careful now because trusting them allows that stab in the back. So how can we trust them to prevent the stab in the back? How is there a possible way to do both? Could it be we get them to have an invested interest or to invest into it to where if they do happen to pull away, that we don't lose and they don't fully lose. But if there is a loss, it'll be taken on their side. To say, okay, you're going to come, you're going to do this work, and we're going to pay you for it. And then we see that they weren't serious and they leave. But we got the work done. Yeah, we had to pay them for it. So now we make sure we try to prevent a little bit of animosity there to say, okay, the guy is not saying we owe him anything, but we still need somebody to do the work. But we didn't lose out because he did what we paid him for. But we were
Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, exactly. We're prepared for the backstab. We're saying, yeah, no, that's cool. It's like companies that people work at and the employees steal. Some of them take losses to where I guess they can't recover. Others will be insured.
Mm-hmm.
Like businesses have said many times, they raise the prices. Like, look, if people steal, we raise the prices to compensate for the loss. And they recover from that too. So there's many ways.
That's why I was saying. That's why I was saying I want when I start my community day, I want to start it off with like a business type of thing because doing business with somebody really gets, you get to see how somebody is when you do business with them, I think.
Well, also, when you give them responsibility, you give somebody a position, that's what reveals that to them. So there's ways to see how, if somebody's trustworthy, what to see, okay, what's going to reveal this person's character. So they're coming to me and they're saying, well, I want to do this, this, and this. Same thing, we can do it with you saying you want to build the community. All right, I got to see how you act under stress. How you act under stress, any of us, like when we see the people come on and start like saying stuff, that's stress. And how we respond in that position brings out part of the real us, the part that is not seeing right now because we're not under stress. And that's the only way you're going to know if something is strong or it will hold up, basically. Like a board that you put across, say you put it across two, like a moat, and you got to walk across that board as a bridge. You don't know. If the board is tested and can hold a stress, you say, okay, I know now for sure. But the only way to do it is to test it, is to put the stress on it. So to stress you about it, that's going to reveal, can you handle the responsibility? Can you handle the pressure in building this? Power. It's another way to reveal it. Give you the power. All right, you want the town? You're running the town. Let's see how you act. Like you said before, is it going to be ruled with an iron hand? Do you want to force people to do it and all this stuff? You don't want to do that. So you see that, okay, you're going to have some type of integrity there. But for somebody that doesn't have that, it'll reveal again. The stress can reveal who they are. Giving them power can reveal even a position that might not be ultimate power, but a position over others, and see how they act, to say, okay, this is the status, because some people will get the status of, oh, these are the carpenters, or these are the farmers, or these are the educators, the employment, the family, the criticism. Criticism is another way to reveal somebody's character. How can they take criticism? So criticism is a big one. Like we see that with Agent Smith the other day, who came on. He was able to criticize, and a lot of people, they'll act like, oh, they'll be critical. And the funniest thing, they'll be critical of us, but then when we criticize them, that's when we see them falter. It's like, wait, you just criticized us and we were able to take the criticism. But now that we criticize you, now you're trying to tell us that we're the ones that's wrong. You can't even take the criticism. So that reveals a fragility right there, a fakeness, to say, wow, so you can dish it out, but you can't take it. It's kind of like you're at war and you got two tanks, and you got one tank that doesn't have strong armor and the other tank does.
Or it's just say like a dang child. Like, it's just someone being real childish. They want to be calling names, and then you call them a name and they start crying about it.
All right. Yeah. And if they say, well, what do you mean childish? We can put it in the term immature. So if they try to even take a shot, like, because they'll try to take a shot and say, oh, you're calling me childish. It's okay, immature. And if they try to even get mad at that, it's like, yeah, you know why you're getting mad, right? And they'll say, why? Because you're immature. And it starts to hurt, because now the wound is open. You've stripped their armor. They have nothing to protect themselves with, because they didn't come correctly. They walked in to the wrong place. They came to the gunfight with a knife.
Yeah.
And say, oh, you came. All right, cool. No problem. It's like, no problem. We've done this before. And we've done it to a point to where we're not here really to destroy them. We're trying to do art of war. Straight alien. It's like, nah, don't destroy everything. Take them over and leave everything intact. That's the highest form of victory. It's to say, yeah, no, we're not going to destroy the infrastructure. We want to use you. for our benefit in a way that also makes you better. We don't want to just use you and throw you away. You could use somebody and they could, when they go to complain about being used, it's like, look, man, in being used, we make you a better, you became stronger. Like, if no matter how much I can criticize the military, I became stronger by going in there, learned more, not recommending people to go in there, but to say, okay, I at least benefited from it. You work at certain
Yeah, it
jobs.
does have this. It does
Mhm.
have like this level of order and structure that I think in a crazy like society it's lacking, and it does feel good to be able to have some of that. I've been in like ROTC and stuff, so I have had a little bit of exposure to that, and I do think I did like it. I was gonna go, but ultimately it's just knowing who is in charge, giving the orders is what I have issues with. Yeah, that's it.
You're going to have corruption. Like you say, you do security, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so armed or unarmed? Are you certified to carry?
unarmed.
Hmm?
I'm unarmed. I was going to get. I am going to get my certification, but I haven't gotten it yet.
Okay, so if you get, do you see where how you can enhance it? You see the discipline that's required just to be an unarmed security. You got to have some discipline, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like whatever you're guarding, right? I've heard of security guards guarding places and stealing stuff from the places they're guarding. That's not discipline. So if you want to be a proficient security guard, you don't steal nothing. You actually do what you were hired to do, guard or protect the community or the place. Like some people, like David Little, would be a security at houses being built. So he would be paid to stay in the house overnight. Now, this is a house that's unfinished. So you're staying there, either watching it or making sure stuff isn't being stolen, materials or whatever. So they figure it's cheaper to pay somebody to say, okay, we're going to pay a guy at nighttime to do a 12-hour shift, maybe from 7 at night or 6 at night till like 6 in the morning. So when the guys go home at 5 or 6, the security guard gets there. They know that all of the wood, everything that's left there is going to be there when they come the next day. And you say, okay, what's it going to cost to keep them there? $200 a day. Okay, we'll have the house built in 3 months, right? So now the problem is with the $200 a day, you got to pay that 7 days a week, even though the guys are not working maybe 7 days a week. So now you're looking at $1,400 a week. 10 weeks, that's 14 grand. You still got 2 more weeks to make 3 months. So 14 grand plus another 2,800, that's 16,800. So $16,800 to keep the house to where you don't take a loss on any of the materials. Now, to how much to pay the guys to build the house and then the materials on top of that. So you see how planning things out like that easily, we can kind of figure out it trains us to do this thing that we're talking about, would be cool to be done. But like Mr. X said, if you build it, now you got to protect it. And you got to protect it while you're building it. That's what the security guard is there for.
That's
So
right.
he's got to have that sense, that level of discipline. And now if you get a firearm, you see that you got to have much more discipline.
Yeah.
You have to be certified. You have to be safe. That's where the military comes in. If people remember their training, you never leave your weapon unattended. The weapon is your life. We sleep with our M16s in the sleeping bag. They'd be like, no, that weapon is not going to be outside of the sleeping bag. That better be inside of that sleeping bag with you. And this is part of the discipline. If you become an armed security guard, you're saying, okay, I see the discipline that's needed with that. That has to be applied throughout every aspect of the community, and a
Okay,
discipline.
I would like to give my like perspective on like the discipline when it comes to being a security guard. But and it's the lowest level. I was like, this is the lowest level of law enforcement that you can. Sorry, this is the lowest level of law enforcement that you can like possibly be at is a security guard. I believe, and I was like, and it's I still feel like there's this level of authority that uh you have just a little bit when it comes to like people, I don't know, feeling like you could help them if something happens, when it's literally like, look, I'm paid just to like observe and report, but yeah, but I was thinking yeah, you there is like this level of, I feel like robot is like, I need to watch out because I could turn into a robot. That's what I was thinking. Like it's real easy to turn robotic uh being in this position, because they literally tell you like you're not supposed to really communicate with people much. Like you could tell them hi and be friendly, but you're not supposed to like talk to them much, because I'm just supposed to be like guarding and watching the place, uh and that's it. I'm in a gym right now, so yeah, they just don't want me to be talking too much to the people. And yeah, I was just thinking they don't really want me on my phone, right? So that makes sense. You need to have discipline, not being like a screen zombie. That's the thing, right? Just constantly being on the phone. And even though there's like a whole bunch of screens in the gym, like there's like 10 different TVs with 10 different shows on, like all over the place. So uh yeah, they can't really get away from a screen no matter where you look. Um but yeah, I was just thinking like, this is crazy because I really do want to start my own business. Would like to be able to be in front of a computer and be working on the stuff that I want to work on, and still manage like an area. Like if I had to, be a security guard, I could still be at a desk and be on my computer and, you know, do my rounds when I need to. But I was just thinking like, you can't really do that here because I'm being paid by these people, and literally in this society we live in, we're just basically paid to be a robot. Like we can't talk to nobody. We can't do what we want when we want. We just gotta uh, kind of just follow the rules. Yeah, that's how I was thinking. But yeah, there is some discipline when it comes to that. I actually had an issue with one of this place I was guarding. Speaking of food, because literally they had like a place where there was snacks, and for whatever reason, I guess they like this one security guard more than they like me, because she was giving me a tour and showing me how it worked, and she was like, "Yeah, they let you get snacks. You could get coffee." And then I tried to do it, and they're like, "Oh, you're silly, and you can't be doing that." And I told her, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I guess they like me." And I was just like, "Okay, well, well, that's fucking dumb." Because I said about her. I was like, "Well, that's dumb because this is like a billion-dollar company, and they're over here giving out snacks to everyone, including you, and I'm just like excluded from getting a 50-cent chips. They're over here saying I'm stealing. Like that's kind of weird." And yeah, that was it. I never got chips again after that, but that happened. I'm done. Sorry, I was ranting.
It's all good. It's all good.
I'm sorry.
You okay, the bud? You didn't get your chips, man. Just bring your chips to yourself. Just pick up some yourself. Don't give in to the system. Eat your own chips.
No, I'm fighting the system. I'm eating the chip.
Good. That's what I wanted. Now I'm proud of you.
I mean, you're learning a lot about the perspectives. I mean, it's great that you want to do your own town and stuff, and you're seeing just how much is required for that now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of aware, yeah, of all the stuff. I didn't really want to do a town, but yeah, there's definitely issues that if you're a groundskeeper, that kind of gets rid of a lot of the stuff when it comes to people trying to invade. Because that's what I was saying. I do want to establish like some kind of uh, business, and like if this business was known for people being like, look, these guys, these guys, these guys are the people who throw you out of the place you're not supposed to be at. So you most definitely shouldn't show up to their headquarters because they're gonna definitely make sure that you get uh, escorted to the right authorities or whatever.
Yeah. See, I just look at the authorities and everything else like a big gang, but they got the biggest, baddest gang there is. And you can form your own gang, but most likely you're going to lose to that gang. That's just how I see it. You know, you can say I'm not going to prison, I'm not following the rule, I'm doing what I want to do, but you end up in prison. Who wants to be there? You know what I mean? That's a miserable existence. So
Yeah, I don't want to fight any gangs. I want to be a security guard, and I want to be exactly what I said I was, which is just like groundskeeper.
mhm.
And I'm a security guard right now. I don't know if you need to have a license to be a groundskeeper. But yeah, like I said, I do want to establish a business, and there's not enough like anybody going around being like, look, you're you're looting, you're littering, you're what is that thing called when you're loitering? Like you're not supposed to be here. You
Hanging
need
out.
to get off of this abandoned property.
Well, I don't know if what licensing you need for a groundskeeper, but I know you need skills. I know you need to know how to cultivate the soil and so forth, and even landscaping that requires skill. So either it be on the job training or going to school. I mean, there are schools for landscaping. I know that, um, but it does require skill and knowledge.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn skills right now, and guess what? I gotta pay for the skills I'm trying to learn. I gotta pay. There's just no way around it. You know. I want my own self sustainability, specifically with mechanical, automotive, and everything like that. And nowadays, these vehicles are not like the old days. Now they're so computerized, you need to understand all the different networks and modules that are in your car. And this, most of these cars go back 10 years with all these computers. And that's a big part of mechanics now. And I think I've read a lot of where a lot of mechanics have to either be retrained or they're quitting because these new vehicles are so complex to deal with. It's nothing like the cars of the '80s at all.
Yeah, I actually bought two Winnebagos from the '70s, so I could fix them up because they're old school uh,
Hmm.
mechanical work. They have old school mechanics.
Yeah, distributor. The only thing is a carbureted engine.
Does the engine have a
I'm
carburetor?
not sure.
You're not sure? Does it run?
Yeah, one of them does. The other one I have doesn't.
How much did you pay?
I paid $500 for the one that doesn't run, and I paid 1,500 for the other one.
And they're livable? These are like livable or not? You have to fix them more.
The one that one's perfectly fine, and literally, I looked on the market value, and it actually is worth around $20,000. Uh, and the other one, I stripped it, and it needs complete repair. It's like in total complete need of repair.
Hmm.
Mm.
So the
Yeah.
$20,000 one, how did you get it so cheap?
The guy, he had a whole bunch of vehicles, and he actually wanted to use it himself, but because of the fact that there was the top of the lid ended up coming undone, the whole inside of the roof started leaking, and he was just like, "I gotta get rid of this thing. It's getting destroyed. I need to get rid of it now." And he basically sold it to me, and he was like, "Yeah, the roof's leaking. I don't know how you're gonna fix it. And when I looked at it, it was literally just the flap of the one of the plastic flaps came off. That was it,
So
and all
you
the water was coming into there.
so you fixed it.
Yeah,
All right. So
yeah, but there.
is it
No,
fixed?
the only issue is literally it turns on. The car turns on, like the motor will turn on, but it doesn't stay on. So I need to supposedly I need to switch out the carburetor or something.
Yeah, because that's a gas guzzler. That back in the '70s, what gas was under $1 per gallon. I don't know what it was in the cents, but so it was okay to have a carbureted engine. But nowadays, it's just like 10 miles to the gallon, and maybe less. With these gas prices, you don't want to be traveling too far with those things.
Yeah, but it is a mobile house, so that is a good thing. I do want to
Hmm.
like start a business. Uh, to MD, I'm gonna put up a video of the inside of it and an outside, and, and I'll post it here afterwards.
Okay. Yeah. Let me know. Yeah, man. This whole war is theater, from the name of the stream, when we get into the like even the town and all of that or the communities, these all seem to be like Hollywood sets. Reminds me of the Twilight Zone when they would have the fake towns, even the neighborhoods we live in. It's like it's all a construct, and it blurs the lines between warfare and theater, and existence in theater. It really the modern conflicts, they feature heavy components of information. So we see digital propaganda, cyber operations to control the narrative, and this it stages events to sway public perception on basically the stage of society. The global stage is the entire structure of it. It goes even beyond that. Look at space and all that. The stage is just another stage. Not saying that it's real or fake. It's saying this is a theater they're presenting to you. So it's like ancient ritualistic stuff, like the Greek tragedies, where actors were citizens or soldiers processing combat trauma, or even just everyday societal life trauma. This is the theater of war productions, the theater of society productions, which uses ancient plays to bridge the gap between military and civilian experiences. History seems to be a movie. Is history a movie? I would say yes, very much so. History that's told to us. Existence seems like a movie, but not to get too much into the metaphysical. That's why I figured we'd talk about history itself as a movie. But yeah, it was a pretty good stream. 3 hours in, it's almost 1:30. Yeah, I'll see if I got a good topic for tomorrow night, and we'll talk soon. Thank everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for the support, and everybody on the panel. Thank you, and have a great night.
Thank you, MD, for having this stream. Good to hear from you, the mind. Thank you.
All right. Good night, y'all.
Mhm.
Good night.